So, you want to be an NFL quarterback. We know a little bit about football around these parts. I've seen them come, and I've seen them go. Some teams must find their future. Others just need to find their way. Tonight may be divided with uncertainty, but like the Texas sun, possibility rises in every tomorrow. He is out there. That kid out of Wyoming, 1,000 recruiting letters sent, only 2 responses. Heisman Trophy winner, not too shabby for a 2-time walk-on. Rosen, a little brash, but has all the skills to back it up. The SoCal quarterback, quite the steady hand and a quick draw to boot. But you see, the present is where you wait to be recognized. Will you be a rookie or the future? For it has arrived here tonight. Rails unlaid, roads unseen. First pick, second pick, or 199th pick. These 32 franchises, they'll weigh risk and reward. Here and now, the unknown of tomorrow and the promise of what may be. To discover the one.
This is the 2018 NFL Draft, presented by Courtyard.
The wait is over. The time is now. The place is AT&T Stadium, and the event is the 2018 NFL Draft. The old song says the stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas, and stars will stroll across that stage tonight, knowing where their future in football will play out, and we'll take you through every single pick in the first round of the NFL Draft. The drama, the tension, the hope, the scare, perhaps, of who goes where. Players like Josh Allen, how quickly will his name be called? Will the events of the last 24 hours determine that someone like Sam Darnold might go first and foremost overall ahead of Josh Allen? Quarterbacks, we've got them in bunches. Josh Rosen says he knows when it's all said and done, 10 years from now, he will be the last man standing, but will he be the first quarterback chosen? And will Saquon Barkley continue the revolution and the renaissance of the running back position in the NFL? He's got his game face on, and so do we. Welcome to the circus, baby, because we're inside the big top. Jerry World, AT&T Stadium. The draft is happening now. Get ready for full immersion. Buckle up, Buttercup, because ain't nobody knowing what's really going down tonight. Glad you're with us. Trey Wingo, Louis Riddick, Kirk Herbstreit, and for the 35th year, Mel Kiper Jr. is with us as well. Guys, we are looking at a bizarre situation tonight. We still don't know who the #1 pick will be, and we could have as many as 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. How much fun are we going to have tonight?
Hey, quarterback, that's what this league is all about, right? Look, John Dorsey supposedly has said his decision has been made for months. Let me just tell you this, back in 2004 when I was with the Washington Redskins, we thought our decision was made the night before we went home, and we thought we were going to draft Kellen Winslow Jr. Guess what happened the next morning? We drafted Sean Taylor. Because look, you never know who you really want until it's time to really pick, especially when you're at the top here. And Mel, you pointed it out numerous times. When people are so close together, any little bit of information can sway you one way or another. That's what makes this kind of event awesome. That's what makes people who are watching at home, it's awesome. And for the teams right now, it's time to build your team.
Let me just go back to saying congratulations on getting Sean Taylor. You did well there.
We did all right.
Yeah, that's a good call. For me, there's such an emphasis on quarterback. And I get it. And we've got a lot of great players. But what I can't wait to see is after these quarterbacks start to go, the best players in this draft are guys like Saquon Barkley, Roquan Smith, Bradley Chubb. Where are these guys going to go, and when are teams going to get a chance to grab onto them, I think is a great story.
Mel, it's a weird situation. Everybody's on the quarterbacks, but to Kirk's point, the best players in the draft may be going a little bit later in this first round.
Exactly.
Yep. Are you concerned at all about the bunching of the quarterback situation? You can't hear a word I'm saying.
I don't think he can hear you. Well, I'll
Mel's
tell you
giving
what.
me the death stare right now, which means I ain't got you, baby. Well, it's the night we've been waiting for, really, since the end of Super Bowl 52. The draft is 8 seconds away. The scoreboard behind me counting it down. Let's go to Roger Goodell to get this party started.
Welcome, football fans, to the 2018 NFL Draft, Texas style. I can't believe you guys are booing the Cowboys. Come on. Thank you all for being here, and for all of you tuning in across the country to welcome our future NFL stars. We already have a record tonight. Over 100,000 fans are here in AT&T Stadium, both here, inside, and outside the stadium. That's a tribute to you, the fans. I'm joined by 3 of the greatest men to ever play for the Cowboys. All 3 are Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year and are models for the newest class of players, for their excellence on the field, but more importantly, for what they do off the field in their communities. Troy Aikman, Jason Witten, and Roger Staubach. Give it to them, guys. Wow. Thank you. No, you stay right here. You guys don't have to go anywhere. Just 1 second. So if you're ready, are you ready? Let's get it started. The 2018 NFL Draft is now officially open. The Cleveland Browns are on the clock.
So Cleveland is where they were a year ago, hoping that what they do this year will not mean they're back in this exact same spot for a 3rd straight year. And one of the problems with the Cleveland Browns continuing to be either at the top or near the top of the draft is this. All the quarterbacks since 1999. Let's enjoy, as they said in Office Space, the entire collection. Whether it's Jeff Garcia, Doug Peterson, Ken Dorsey, Jake Delhomme, Seneca Wallace, Colt McCoy, Charlie Fry, Spurgeon Wynn. We all remember the golden era of Spurgeon Wynn in Cleveland. Deshaun Kaiser, Kevin Hogan, Cody Kessler, 28 different starting quarterbacks. And here's the entire class. Quinn, Couch, Wheaton, and Manziel, all first-round picks. Let's just say not one of them what they were thinking about when they took them in the first round. And the last one to win a regular season game, Robert Griffin III, way back in December of 2016. Been here, done that with Cleveland. New sheriff in town in John Dorsey, Mel. What do they have to do with the quarterback spot this time?
Find the right guy. They got a lot of options. And I think the surprising option to a lot of people would be a kid back in August you thought would be a 3rd or 4th round pick. That would be Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma. We thought back in August it would be Sam Darnold, USC, guaranteed. Then the games began. He looked good in September. Then late September against Washington State, Notre Dame game, Ohio State at the end, he struggled. Josh Rosen, 2nd straight year with injuries from UCLA, pushed him down just a bit. Josh Allen had an injured shoulder late, but came back and then did a really good job. Then the issue last night and this morning. So right now, all eyes are on the Cleveland Browns. They have to get it right. Pressure on John Dorsey, the new GM, to nail this pick. They've passed on so many quarterbacks over the years. You go back to Ben Roethlisberger, Derek Carr, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz. They got to get this right. They got to get the right quarterback.
You have been on Josh Allen for a long time. Obviously, incidents from today may affect his draft status, but they've said, Lewis, for a long time, they know who this guy is that they want to take. So who, in your opinion, would be the right guy to go to Cleveland?
You know, that's a great question, Trey, because I'll tell you what, when you have that many quarterbacks over time, 28 different starting quarterbacks, it's never just about the player. That's an organizational problem. That's a developmental problem. That's a systemic inherent problem. So now you need to find not just the best quarterback, but the best quarterback that fits you and what you are looking for. And look, to me, Sam Darnold fits what they are looking for. Okay, just think about the kind of offense they're going to want to run. They need to have a guy who can win from the pocket when he needs to, but can create when he needs to. He doesn't need to depend on either one. He cannot be dependent upon just being that scramble around type of guy, and he can't be dependent upon in just really limited to the pocket. I think they need a guy, and Sam Darnold could also do this. He could benefit. Herbie, you've said he probably could use another year in college. Well, they have Tyrod Taylor. So draft him, let him sit there, let him develop, and then unveil him next year. But I'll tell you what, it's not just going to be on the player for this guy to really hit. It's going to be on the organization. Players don't fail on their own, man. They don't fail on their own. They fail because other people help them too.
Well, it's like you don't win games on your own. Everybody's in on it or everybody's out of it.
That's right.
You had Allen. You like Darnold. We had the report from Adam Schefter earlier today, Kirk, that they have looked really hard, and he's hearing that it may be Baker Mayfield, the guy you've loved for a long time.
He's been the guy that I've looked at. What's interesting here is the Browns have 1 and 4. And with 19 years and 28 quarterbacks, John Dorsey has nothing to do with that history, but it's what he's inherited.
Yes.
So he feels that. So it would make sense the best player in the draft is go Saquon Barkley. But you got to get the quarterback right. Is one of these guys separated themselves based on their evaluations? In my mind, it is Baker Mayfield. And it's not just that he scrambles around and makes plays. This guy can sit in the pocket, and he's the most accurate of any of these quarterbacks in this draft. And he brings all the intangibles that you want. Forget the off-the-field issues, in my opinion. It's not Johnny Manziel. This kid is a proven winner, high school, college. He walked on twice. He led his team to 3 Big 12 championships. And I think he gets his locker room to believe in him that they can win. And after 19 years of struggling, they need a guy that has that big heart, and he's such a competitor. I think it's Baker Mayfield.
So what we get down to with Baker, if you like them, you excuse away that and say it's not a big deal. You don't worry about it. If you had concerns about Baker at 6'1.5" with the antics and the lack of maturity, you can spin it negatively and say, okay, you're talking about the #1 pick overall. We had never seen this before in the NFL.
Unprecedented, you said.
It's never happened. Absolutely. A 6'1.5" quarterback who doesn't have Michael Vick athleticism or Michael Vick speed and has the antics, which you want to call him a maturity issue. Ironically, he's 23. Sam Darnold's only a 20-year-old kid right now.
Let me ask you something.
21.
Is this 6 foot?
It's not there.
Is a 6 foot still a big thing with the way the game is trending?
There's not that many. Kirk, and when they were, Russell Wilson's a 3rd-round pick. Drew Brees was the first pick in the 2nd round. Michael Vick went #1 overall because he brought other things to the table.
I don't know, man.
Where Baker Mayfield doesn't. So this is a risk because he doesn't check all the boxes to be the #1 pick. So John Dorsey's rolling the dice that he can find maybe the next Brett Favre in Baker Mayfield.
But Mel, you know what? Just because there hasn't been that many doesn't mean that 6-foot quarterbacks should all of a sudden be pushed down inherently. Because I'll tell you what, the 6-foot quarterbacks that have made it, the ones who are given chances, with Drew Brees, is setting record numbers. It can happen, but you know what? The NFL is a creature of habit. They all do what everyone else does, and they all look to whatever has the biggest or the most amount of data that they can lean on. Because right now, at the top of the draft, you're not so much concerned about hitting as you are about what happens if I miss.
Right.
That's what you're almost more concerned about.
And that's part of this, because if you're not as fast as Russell Wilson and you're not as accurate as Drew Brees, the amount of data on 6-foot quarterbacks isn't there. And then there's the Big 12 thing, whether it's right or wrong. 8 Big 12 quarterbacks have gone in the first round. That group is a combined 58 games below 500. We'll have more on that in just a minute. Hey, we got all night, Parker, trust me. Let's go upstairs to Adam Schefter and Chris Mortensen for more on the idea that Baker could be the Brown.
Well, Trey, look, as you know, John Dorsey and the Kansas City Chiefs parted ways last year, and during that time, before he became the Browns general manager in December, he saw Baker Mayfield play 6 times, and in person at the Kansas game, the game in which Mayfield grabbed his crotch. But he believed that Baker Mayfield was the best player in college football. I know he told me that during that period of time. And as far as the Johnny Manziel reference, as Kirk Herbstreit alluded to, they made sure on the off-field issues that this was not Johnny Manziel Part 2. Very comfortable with what they find off the field with him, and allowed for some of the problems like he had with the Arkansas incident last year.
And keep in mind, he also brought aboard the former Redskins general manager Scott McCloughan, who had been an open Baker Mayfield supporter, loved Baker Mayfield. We'll find out now if that's the pick, Trey.
Adam, wow, went full Bacon Mayfield there. First one out. You Baker, bacon, I get it, it's eating. But Kirk, you've been passionate about this since we started talking about this draft process. Show me what you like in the tape so much.
Well, first of all, I think the game is changing. I think the NFL is changing. The offenses are changing. Look at the Rams last year. Look what the other teams have done. Baker Mayfield, he can make throws from the pocket. But he reminds me, you mentioned Drew Brees, he also has a flamboyant style of a Brett Favre with the way he leads the team with the intangibles. Look at the downfield accuracy. It's as good as there is in this draft. Don't think of Drew Brees with the Saints. Go back to when he played at Purdue and made those same throws. Similar build. The creativity is where I think the Brett Favre kind of flamboyancy comes out. His ability to create, get outside of the pocket, different arm angles, never gives up on a play. Reminds you a lot. Again, Brett Favre from the Southern Miss days. Much younger guy, but doing things that aren't necessarily technically sound, but always seems to find an answer. That's who Baker Mayfield is to me.
The technical things, we don't have much time because the pick is coming in. Are you comfortable with the technical things that he was talking about not being an issue?
Look, absolutely. Look, I thought Baker Mayfield was the best overall quarterback, regardless of fit, if you were taking fit out of it, because the guy can do everything from the pocket and outside the pocket. So I'm not surprised if they pick him. I'm just saying I don't know if he's the best fit for him, but we're going to find out.
We are about to find out as the Browns' long wait is over after an 0-16 season. Their savior will be, let's go to Roger Goodell at the podium.
With the first pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield, quarterback, Oklahoma.
And yea, verily, this party is underway, people. Baker Mayfield, from a walk-on at Texas Tech, couldn't get on the field, walked on to Oklahoma, and 3 years later, Heisman Trophy winner, and now he walks out of here knowing he's the #1 pick in the NFL Draft in 2018. Again, started at Texas Tech, left after 1 season, and he was the Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Then went to Oklahoma. In 2015, he was named your starting quarterback. And let's just say he had a good run, Shug, in 2017. Heisman, Maxwell, Walter, Davey O'Brien Award winner, Player of the Year, and of course, all those Big 12 championships. He believes in himself, Lewis, and that belief was just paid off big time.
There's no question about it. Look, this is a guy who can win from the pocket, just as Herbie pointed out, and he can spread the ball both horizontally and vertically. And you know what? All the things that they did under Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, they transferred to the NFL, especially on first and second down. And look, that kind of mobility, that transfers to the NFL. That kind of accuracy, that transfers to the NFL. But what you're talking about, look, here, down in the red area, I saw him down at the Senior Bowl. I saw him throwing darts just like this down there in Mobile. And here against Baylor, you see he sees pressure coming off of his blind side, and he doesn't flinch. He drops the ball in the bucket. And then here, the type of plays right here that you see in Oklahoma do right here, the zone read, play action pass, that is the kind of things that right now on first and second down you're seeing across the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles are doing it. The Kansas City Chiefs are doing it. You're going to see the Chicago Bears just absolutely wear people out this year with Mitchell Trubisky with that. So Baker Mayfield, they haven't designed the offense around him. But I'll tell you what, on third down, he can deal, man. He can deal.
He's the oldest '1 overall pick since Eli Manning in 2004 at the age of 23. Mel, do you like it or don't you?
I don't like the pick. No, I think at 4.84 is his 40 speed. And the way he runs around in college, in the NFL, you got to be careful. Remember that Georgia game? He got stung in that game.
Sure.
That's why the ball wasn't in his hands late when Lincoln Riley said, hey, he's not 100%. I got to go to guys who weren't making plays because Baker is not 100%. So I think in the NFL, where you got defensive linemen that can run better than that, I think you got to be careful. He's got to protect that 215-pound frame a little bit better, or he's not going to survive a full season. He certainly is the ultimate competitor. He thinks he's invincible. The NFL will bring you back to earth very quickly.
Let me just say, I grew up in Ohio, and just want to say, I feel the Browns' pain, their fan base.
Absolutely.
One of the most loyal fan bases. And fellas, congratulations on this pick, because Baker Mayfield will fit into that city perfectly. He will be one of you. He is a blue-collar guy. He wants to win. He will do everything he can to try to turn that franchise around. And I'll tell you what, you can talk about whatever happened in the Georgia game. After he put up 500 yards of offense, maybe he got fatigued and tired because he dominated that football game until they got late in that game. And to me, you bring up a great point. They are going to have to adjust the RPOs, and his style of football needs to be implemented by Hugh Jackson.
But they're in the NFL. RPOs are already there.
Yeah,
The interesting thing there is that they have Tyrod Taylor, so if they ever make the transition, they're the same kind of quarterback in what they can do. Here are the Baker Mayfield's concerns, though. February of 2017, arrested in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and was tased after he tried to run away from a cop. September 9, 2017. This, I thought, was much ado about nothing. He planted a flag after a win at Ohio State. Big deal. But he uses that chip on his shoulder, wore a Traitor t-shirt to a game against Texas Tech. And then, of course, he was denied a handshake, applauded it against Kansas, and then after some good play, decided to respond in kind. Probably not his best move. And then in January of this year, entered the Rose Bowl with the word pretenders on there because people had said the Oklahoma Sooners would be pretenders in the championship route. Look, that's all great, and his players at Oklahoma said they love him, but those are 19 to 20-year-old kids. Unless he deals, that stuff won't fly at the next level.
No, look, it's all about production. The league respects production. He's going to have to produce.
Meanwhile, we got to go. The next pick is in. Here's Commissioner Roger Goodell with the Giants pick. Rolling, baby. All right.
With the second pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
There you see the hug from his Penn State head coach, James Franklin. Saquon Barkley going back to where he came from. Yes, he's been outside Allentown in Pennsylvania, and that's what got him to Penn State, even though he had committed to Rutgers, and James Franklin wore him out, saying, there is no way I'm going to let you go to Rutgers. You have to come to Penn State, and it has proven to be a perfect marriage. But now with the second overall pick, Saquon Barkley is ready to run the rock for the New York Football Giants. The running game has been absent in New York the last couple of years, even in 2016 when they made it to the playoffs. Mel has called him the best player available in this draft, and Kirk, the highlights show you why Mel feels that way.
My opinion, the best player in this draft is Saquon Barkley. The New York Giants just picked him up. He can do a lot of things for an offense. The ability to make people miss at 233 pounds. Remember that when you're watching the highlights here, that he's 233 pounds. Great lateral quickness, ability to get out in space. This is the area that he improved the most. By the way, he goes up in the air, takes a hit in the air from a safety, lands it, and is able to move downfield. How about this stop and go right here? Stop and accelerate after he's able to get by the defender. And he really, really worked hard on his game to become a better receiver. He's a 3-down back. You will not see him go off the field on 3rd down because he's just as dangerous, Mel, on 3rd down as he is on 1st and 2nd down, and he's physical between the tackles.
And Herbie is physical as a blocker, and I think that's important for Eli Manning. He has an offensive line that was not up to par, and now your last line of defense is Saquon Barkley. Eli Manning's going to get the help he needs to deliver those passes. I think this is a philosophical situation for Dave Gettleman saying, hey, we're helping out our veteran quarterback, Eli Manning. We're not going to get the heir apparent to Eli Manning. We're going to get Saquon Barkley and certainly go away from Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, or Josh Rosen. And I think when you also think about Dave Gettleman, he made a comment. The second pick's got to maybe wear that gold jacket. It's got to be possibly a Hall of Famer. He obviously found flaws and red flags with the quarterbacks, enough to take a running back that he feels can be Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Adrian Peterson, Todd Gurley. That's what he's looking for Saquon Barkley. Not Trent Richardson, but one of those star running backs that went in the top of the draft.
Look, he set 10 school records at Penn State, including the most all-purpose yards. This basically says that they're comfortable with Eli Manning for the next few years because this guy's going to have to tote the rock.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. Look, this decision goes all the way above Dave Gettleman. This is about Mr. John Mara saying, this is who I want to be. I want to be a running football team. I want to be a team that controls the clock. I want to be a team that plays New York, hard-nosed, tough-style football. He said it a long time ago. You knew this was coming. Saquon Barkley was tailor-made for this football team. This team was 27th in yards per touch for running backs last year. Yards per touch, not yards per carry. Saquon can tote it, and he can catch it. Perfect.
Gives him a Tiki Barber kind of back, but even more potential. Best back I've seen come out of the college game since Adrian Peterson.
Listen, they're going to have to block for him, which has been the problem there. Let's go down to the interview with Suzy Kolber. Suzy Kolber standing by with Saquon Barkley. Obviously, a very happy New York Giant. DXL Men's Apparel bringing that to us.
Well, Saquon, you are the face of Penn State football. You've insisted that you would like to be the face of the NFL. How are you going to make that happen?
Just by sticking to the little things, what got me here, and that's being in love with football and being passionate about the game and working my butt off and pushing myself every single day. I'm just truly excited to be honored to be part of the New York Giants. When I got to visit their program, I fell in love. You walk in, you see the Super Bowls right away, and you see that team's about winning, and hopefully I can go up there and help as quick as possible.
You didn't get to Dallas until late last night because this is only the second great thing to happen to you this week. Show everybody you're still wearing the hospital band from the birth of your daughter. How do you process all of this?
Yeah, it's truly amazing. I was telling people it's like it's from a movie or a book. It's an honor, and I'm just thankful that I can have the two biggest blessings of my life. First and foremost, having a daughter, a beautiful daughter, Jada, and then be able to play for a franchise like New York Giants. It's an honor, and like I said, I don't even know how to explain it right now. I'm just so thankful.
Shout out to your girlfriend, Anna. Shout out.
Yeah, I will. How you doing, Anna?
Congratulations.
Thank you so
much. Trey, what a week. He's a new dad and a new Giant.
Yeah, what a week he's had. We should all have a week like Saquon Barkley. Unbelievable. Congratulations all around. And that leads us to J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets.
New York Jets. Jets take the first-round selection, quarterback, Ken O'Brien of California Davis.
Everybody said if Marino was going to be around at that time, they'd take Marino. Obviously, the Jets know something that, the people up here don't.
Jeff Lageman, linebacker, Virginia.
It's obvious to me right now that the Jets just don't understand what the draft's all about.
The New York Jets select Johnny Mitchell, tight end, Nebraska. The New York Jets select tight end from Penn State, Kyle Brady.
The New York Jets select Mark Sanchez, quarterback, USC.
So the Jets traded up. Will they take a quarterback? They've done it before. 1965, Broadway, Joe Namath. That worked out well. The only Super Bowl win in franchise history, 16-7 over the invincible, supposedly, Baltimore Colts. Richard Todd, 6th overall. Ken O'Brien, one of the 3 not Hall of Famers from the class of '83. Chad Pennington played very well, 18th overall, and then Mark Sanchez in 2009. It's gotta be a quarterback here. The question will be, which quarterback will the Jets go with? The Jets are poised to make the pick that they believe will allow them to compete in the AFC East. Commissioner Goodell is approaching the podium. We about to find out, people.
With the 3rd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Sam Darnold, quarterback, USC.
Quarterback, running back, quarterback. A sigh of relief from Sam Darnold, who's going West Coast, East Coast. Sam Darnold, only 2 years at USC, but was so impressive when he played as a freshman. A little of concerns his 2nd year playing for USC, but now he is a member of the New York Jets as the 3rd overall pick. And ladies and gentlemen, they call him the DNA because the bloodlines run deep for Sam Darnold and company. The next quarterback of the New York Jets. Yeah, he was at USC, but before he was at USC, Dick Hammer, his grandfather, USC basketball Olympian in volleyball. His mother played volleyball at Long Beach State. His father, Mike Darnold, a father who played football, and his sister played at Rhode Island. By the way, Dick Hammer was also one of the 5 original Marlboro Men, and also was an actor on the series Emergency in the 70s. No more emergencies about this guy in the Jets quarterback, Mel.
No, it's not. I think they got to feel fortunate at pick number 3. Sam Darnold was there back in August. You thought he'd be guaranteed to be the #1 pick. He opened the door because he had a shaky year. But when he's on and you give him time and he can maneuver in the pocket, great feet in the pocket, great downfield accuracy, it was a very catchable ball. What he was, though, was a turnover nightmare this past year. Got in some bad habits, holding the ball out like a loaf of bread, a lot of fumbles, 22 turnovers, 13 interceptions, 9 fumbles. 2 years ago, he was plus 22 touchdown interception ratio, lost 3 offensive linemen, lost his top receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, and the results were not the same. You're seeing him at his best this year. You saw a couple games where he was at his worst. Washington State, Notre Dame, and then particularly Ohio State late in the year. Final game, unforced errors on a pick 6, an overthrown pass in the end zone to Deontay Burnett that would have been a touchdown, then a fumble in the pocket that cost him a field goal. He opened the door for Baker Mayfield to go ahead of him because he did not have the year anticipated. But if they can basically recapture what we saw 2 years ago, recreate Sam Darnold from 2 years ago, they could have themselves a steal at number 3. A kid it really could have been and would have been the #1 pick had things gone the way everybody thought.
Speaking of recreating, the last quarterback the Jets took in the 1st round, Mark Sanchez from USC in 2009, 5th overall. Let's go down to Susie, brought to you by DXL.
Well, Sam, you admitted that you've had vivid dreams about what this night would be like. How's the reality?
Oh, it lived up to the expectations, I'll tell you that. I mean, there's nothing better than being on this stage. Great Jets fans over there, so I'm excited to be part of the franchise, part of the organization.
Josh McCown is a fine veteran starter there in New York. How would you like to see your rookie season play out?
Yeah, I think, whatever the coaches want me to do, whether they want me to sit, whether they want me to play, I'm going to star in my role. That's what I've been doing my whole life, and I'm not going to do anything different.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, he has always been calm, cool, and collected. When he got to USC, Lewis, another quarterback had already signed there, a very top pick. He looked at the coach and said, best guy plays, right? That other quarterback was in the process of transferring week 1, and Darnold became the starter.
Yeah, look, he's going into a situation like maybe you don't necessarily associate with the New York Jets with a good situation, but it is a good situation, and I'll tell you why. Just start with the quarterback room, number one. There is no better pro to learn from than Josh McCown.
Preach.
Josh McCown is perfect for for Sam Darnold. And I'll tell you what, the other person that really is going to be key in this situation is offensive coordinator Jeremy Bates. So I can tell you this, look, head coach Todd Bowles loves Jeremy Bates, thinks he is one of the up-and-comers again that you're going to be hearing from as far as quarterback development. They have the luxury of time now. They can let him learn from players, let him learn from coaches. They're going to build this offense run-centric, and they're going to take their time with Sam Darnold. Look, they're tickled that he fell to him. I can just guarantee you this. They had their pick right now of the quarterbacks that they wanted. Baker Mayfield maybe isn't the best player for them. The quarterback they wanted came to them, Kurt.
Great player, probably has the most upside of any of the quarterbacks with all the analysis. At the end of the day, Mel brings up some great points. 2 years ago when he had better people around him, he was getting the ball out. He had incredible flash plays. This past year with the new offensive line, breaking in some new receivers. But what stands out to me and what is a concern, and they're going to have to figure it out, against Ohio State late in the year and UCLA on 3rd down, when college defenses really pressure and get exotic with different looks, he struggled. He panicked. He turned the ball over. He was sacked a bunch because he was holding on to the ball. 3rd down is a little bit of an indication of what he's going to see consistently in the NFL. That's an area that he's going to have to drastically improve. I said all along he would have benefited from 1 more year of college football. Maybe sitting behind Josh will be the thing that could really help him, and then a year later he could take over.
The interesting thing, his first ever college game, AT&T Stadium, lost to Alabama. His last college game here at AT&T Stadium against Ohio State.
Right.
And now AT&T Stadium is where he is drafted, going to the Jets. Who else would we have embedded with the Jets than Sal Paolantonio? Sal, let's get right to the news about Sam Darnold being the Jets QB.
And I talked to Todd Bowles, Trey, this morning, the head coach of the New York Jets, and here was his scouting report on Sam Darnold. Darnold came in here and visited the New York Jets a little while ago, and he said that Sam Darnold was very engaging, very intelligent, and you could see he was a hell of a competitor. He would fit right in with what the Jets want to do. He said when they moved up from number 6 to number 3 and invested 3 second-round picks to do so, they were looking for a guy who could change this franchise, and Sam Darnold would do it, Trey.
Browns, Sal, thanks very much. So for the second time in the first 4 picks, the dog pound is out. The Cleveland Browns are there. They got their quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Mel, what's the next piece of the puzzle?
If I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm taking Bradley Chubb. And I think Bradley Chubb opposite Myles Garrett with Emmanuel Ogbah as your 3rd option. You got pass rusher coming after those quarterbacks on a regular basis, and all of a sudden you got the heat you need to be a much improved defense.
Well, they got Myles Garrett, number 1 overall last year. A lot of people think that Bradley Chubb compares very favorably to what Myles Garrett was able to do last year.
Or maybe even better.
Or maybe even better.
Some people might think that.
So they've got some offensive weapons. That would be you. They've got some offensive weapons already. They've got their quarterback. Will they go defense now? Cleveland, here we go again.
With the 4th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Denzel Ward, defensive back, Ohio State.
O-H-I-O. Denzel Ward, the cornerback from Ohio State, stays close to home, and he is now the 4th in the last 5 years to be a cornerback taken in the 1st round. Denzel Ward, now a member of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, look, I'll tell you what, look, this is a team that doesn't rush the passer very well, and they get the ball thrown over their head a lot also. So, look, they need corners, they need people who can cover in the back end, and they still do need pass rush. But it makes sense. This is someone that's been connected to the Cleveland Browns for weeks now as someone they had targeted. And I'll tell you this about Denzel Ward. He's one of the better, if not the best, press corner in this draft this year. Tremendous patience at the line of scrimmage, tremendous ball locator skills, tremendous mirror ability, tremendous leaping ability. I mean, he can can pretty much do it all. And even at his size, he is a guy who will force the run, who will tackle, and will play with the kind of ferocity that you don't see many corners play with. And you see it right there. He will lay the hit on you. And this is a good player for them. It's a need pick as well as a best player available pick. He can basically fill both criteria for you. They could go on pass rusher with Chubb. I don't think they can lose going with Denzel Ward here either. And it really doesn't surprise me.
Pass rush always masks problems in the secondary. I'm taking Bradley Chubb over Denzel Ward. I know Ward was hot. He had the great workout. He had a real good year. You saw Marshawn Lattimore have a big season. They hope they get that out of Denzel Ward to make up for not taking Bradley Chubb.
Well, they've also had Bradley Roby go to Denver, Eli Apple go there as well, and Gary and Conley last year. Stay with us. We are out of the gate rolling, baby.
Hi, hello, and welcome back for the 1983 National Football League Collegiate Player Draft.
Baltimore selects as the first choice in the draft quarterback John Elway of Stanford. Kansas City, first choice quarterback Todd Blackley, Penn State. Buffalo selects quarterback Jim Kelly, Miami of Florida. New England's first choice quarterback Tony Eason, Illinois. Jets take quarterback Ken O'Brien of California, Davis. Dolphins select quarterback Dan Marino of Pittsburgh.
Class of '83, that was the GMC professional grade moment. We've seen two quarterbacks go. Josh Rosen still there. Josh Allen still there. What will Denver do at 5?
The NFL's continued support of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital helps ensure that all kids have a chance to play 60. This year, the NFL, NFL Network, and Rich Eisen help raise $180,000 so that no family ever receives a bill from St. Jude. With me tonight to announce Denver's pick is Austin, who is a St. Jude patient. Austin is 17 and an aspiring broadcaster from New Mexico and a big Broncos fan. Austin has benefited from the care teams at St. Jude and is an inspiration to all of us. Okay, Austin, let's show them how it's done.
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Bradley Chubb, defensive end, NC State.
Well, with Denver fans, they're hoping it's deja vu all over again. Much like Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware led them to Super Bowl 50 coming off the edge. It's now Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. And kids, don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. Bradley Chubb was rated as the 733rd best player in his draft class, and now he walks across the stage, Mel, as the 5th overall pick for the Broncos.
I'll tell you what, you want to be entertained. Watch him play at NC State. Everybody was entertained except quarterbacks that he was getting after. What I love about Bradley Chubb is passion for the game. He may be the most complete defensive end to come out in recent memory. Dave Doran said he sprints on the practice field every day. He can bend the edge, around a 4.65 40. He's got real good arm length, 36 vertical, gifted athlete, 24 reps, speed to power. He's got it all, plays the run very well. This is a kid that hustles, does not take any downs off. That's what we always talk about with these great athletic defenses. They kind of pace themselves through. He doesn't. He's a great kid, high character, high motor. I think Denver had to be shocked that the second best player on the board, in my opinion, Bradley Chubb is still there at pick number 5.
Listen, this is exactly what Denver was hoping for. It's played out perfectly. Chubb just the 3rd NC State player in the top 5 in the common NFL draft. Mario Williams, #1 overall, and Phillip Rivers, 4th overall to the Giants, traded to the Chargers. That was Chubb getting the news. Bradley, this is Vaughn. Vaughn, this is Bradley. Let's go do this thing, is exactly what they're talking about. Well, as we continue here in the 2018 NFL Draft, we are through the first 5 picks. The most surprising thing, Lewis, to you so far is what?
Well, one, that Baker Mayfield went number 1 overall, and that Bradley Chubb has fallen down here to 5 and being picked by the Denver Broncos, and he wasn't picked earlier than this, because I'll tell you this, though, the Denver Broncos are smart. You know they're going to play what they call complementary football this year, aren't they? They're going to try and get after the quarterback. They're trying to just absolutely blank you on defense and give Case Keenum chances to score points, because the defense is going to carry the day. It carried the day when they're winning Super Bowls. It's going to carry the day again. Look, and it's smart contractually, because think of it this way. Shane Ray had a disappointing year, the former first-round pick, in 2015. He had a disappointing year last year. Shaq Barrett has outplayed him. Shaq Barrett's contract is up after this year. So they're thinking ahead contractually, and with the way philosophically they want to play, they send their Bradley Chubb. Yes, thank you. We'll take that.
I think it's interesting. You start to look who's picking the next few picks. Indianapolis, Tampa Bay, Chicago. These teams have quarterbacks. All we talked about before this draft started, 5 quarterbacks, 6 quarterbacks. If you're sitting back there and 2 have gone, and you're one of the other 3, you're sitting there wondering, is there somebody going to move up possibly to try to get one of the quarterbacks?
Kirk, you're exactly right. Barring a trade, we could sit here from 6 through 10 without a quarterback. Miami may go at 11. Buffalo's sitting at 12. Arizona's sitting at 15. The Joshes are the ones left. Rosen and Allen, and you wonder how much, if any of this, is because of the stuff that came out about Josh Allen and the perception that sometimes Josh Rosen rubbed people the wrong way. Well, that's for a later discussion. The Colts hope they have their quarterback back in Andrew Luck. This was the trade to get them up to 6 that they made with the Jets. Let's go to Roger Goodell and find out where Indy goes now.
With the 6th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Quentin Nelson, guard, Notre Dame.
Well, if you enjoy watching one human being humiliate another human being on a regular basis, then Quentin Nelson's tape is for you. He weighed 10 pounds, 10 ounces at birth, grew up as a fan of the Giants. He only has 39 cousins. Oh, by the way, his family's pretty competitive. They played backyard basketball against each other. His mom broke a wrist taking a block once. Lewis, this is a tough family and a tough kid.
Absolutely. And look, why do you draft a guy like this? Because you need to protect your franchise quarterback, number 1. And number 2, you need an attitude on your offensive line, and this guy's going to give you plenty of that. When you have the 30th rated scoring offense, you need to start over with your offense, and you need to build it inside out, front to back. Inside out, offensive guard, front to back, offensive line. And this guy is the perfect killer selection. I've said all offseason, look, the way you value offensive linemen has changed. It's not just about tackles anymore. It's about building your team strong down the middle. You've got to protect your quarterback. Quentin Nelson is perfect.
Well, look, the Colts needed this, and Andrew Luck is saying thank you. The Colts were the worst in the NFL in sacks allowed and pressure percentage allowed last season. Somebody always said, help Andrew Luck out. Andrew Luck, your help is named Quentin Nelson. Stay with us. Welcome back to our coverage of the draft. We're glad you're with us. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, committed to honoring blimp-worthy athletes who demonstrate hard work on and off the field. Goodyear, more driven. Well, we talked about the potential of quarterbacks going only if there was a trade. Folks, we got us a trade. Let's go up to Adam Schefter and Chris Mortensen as the Bills are now on the clock. This feels like it's QB-centric, guys.
Well, trade, what happened here is that the Buffalo Bills and Denver Broncos had a trade in place for some of the afternoon. Denver was going to go back to Buffalo's spot. But ultimately, when Bradley Chubb became available, Denver did not want to make the deal. So Buffalo got on the phone with Tampa and traded 2 extra second-round draft picks to move up to number 7 to put the Bills in position to get the quarterback that they coveted.
And the Bills even talked to the Browns at number 4, but it was too high of a cost. And one note here, Bills owner Terry Pegula joined the Bills contingents to a lot of the quarterback workouts, and he was especially infatuated with Josh Allen for the obvious reasons. He can play in that weather, so that's a guy that Terry Pegula and Brandon Beane, the general manager, and Sean McDermott, the coach, certainly were infatuated with.
All right, Adam Mort, thanks very much. So with the trade, Buffalo Bills make it up to 6 from 12. If it's a quarterback, this is the list of QBs that have played since Jim Kelly retired. The Nathan Peterman experiment, that game against the Chargers, I think we can all agree they'd like a mulligan on that one. Tyrod Taylor, of course, now looks like he's going to be setting the table for Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. So will this be a quarterback here? Will it be Josh Rosen? Will it be Josh Allen? All indications are that they moved up for a QB to make sure they got ahead of somebody like the Arizona Cardinals. Buffalo made the playoffs last year. Have they found their future quarterback now? Roger Goodell, the commissioner, at the podium.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have traded the 7th pick to the Buffalo Bills. With the 7th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming.
Well, maybe a little longer wait than Josh Allen expected, but the man who once had to send out 1,000 emails to head coaches, offensive coordinators, and quarterback coaches just to say, take a look at my tape, got 2 offers, one from Wyoming. He went to everybody, Nick Saban, you name it. They all said no. Now, in the 7th overall pick in the draft, those 1,000 emails are indeed paying off as Josh Allen is the new quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. And they love it in Laramie, the Buckhorn Bar and Parlor, where they watch their Wyoming Cowboys do all that good stuff with Josh Allen. He is now going to a place that he'll be used to. Snow, cold, wind, temperatures. They'll get it going. Mel, the question here has always been the accuracy. You don't see it as a problem.
Well, I think when you look at Trey, the last couple of years, he didn't throw the ball 40-plus times a game. He was always around at 22 to 27 attempts. So when you add that, margin for error is different than throwing it 40-plus like the other quarterbacks did. And you look at this year, he lost 4 guys to the NFL. You can't reload in Laramie with Wyoming. Craig Bohl's done a tremendous job coaching that football team. What I love about Josh, you know, about athleticism, arm strength, like Matthew Stafford. You want a baseball analogy? He's Randy Johnson. And I think you look at this kid, incredible talent, tremendous competitor. And what I love about him, what a difference maker he was. I think winning in college is a little overrated, but when you're at Laramie at Wyoming, 4 years prior to Josh Allen taking over, they're 15 and 33, 4 losing seasons. The 2 years he's a starter, they're 16 and 9. 4 of those 9 losses by 3 points. Missed 2 games late in the year. They lose both of them. He comes back and plays. They beat Central Michigan in the bowl game. He is a difference maker. He's a big-time talent. He's a rare talent.
Well, he is rare indeed because they're hoping he will turn things around in Buffalo. Susie Culver has the interview courtesy of DXL.
And Trey, you saw it. The Bills fans behind us are going crazy. Josh, they traded up to take you. After the last 24 hours you've been through and you had things that you had to address, how do you process the emotions of this?
Well, obviously, I just want to say, thank you to the Bills organization for, making the leap and putting their faith in me. I want to make them look like they're the smartest people out there. I'm humble. I'm blessed to be part of the Bills Mafia. This is one of the greatest moments of my life.
What do you want your new Bills teammates to know about you?
I'm ready to come win. I'm ready to go to work. That's the only thing I want to do is come win football games in the great, city of Buffalo. They deserve it. It's a tough place to play. It's a tough team. And I'm ready to step in and, go help this team win football games.
Do you think you'll have to go out of your way to address things?
I don't have to, but I probably will. I want them to know that I'm going to work on being the best teammate possible. I've never had a problem in my past with any teammates. I love all my guys. I got to show this a little bit. Got the Wyoming Poke signs on the inside of my jacket. Shout out to you boys. I love you guys. It's going to be fun.
Coast to coast. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Trey.
Susie, Josh, thanks very much. Here are the details of the trade. Buffalo moves up to get the 7th overall pick. The Bucs get the 12th and 2 18th second rounders. Again, remember, Buffalo had a lot of capital. They had 2 1s and 2 2s to play with. Those 2 53rd and 56th overall. So the journey for Josh Allen goes from the tiny town of Firebaugh, California to Reedley Junior College to the University of Wyoming And now to the Buffalo Bills. What are the Buffalo Bills getting?
I love his size. Mel talked about all of it, really. 6'4", 237 pounds. What gets maybe glossed over is the athletic ability, because we talk about some of these other guys like Darnold and Baker Mayfield and what they can do, but the big fella can move around and surprises you with his vision downfield. There are a lot of areas that are of concern. Post-snap movement by a defense, sometimes late to pick up on. Sometimes with some of the new personnel around him, he picked up some bad habits. But I like the pick, and I think he fits in as far as the conditions and Buffalo, kind of that Jim Kelly type of guy.
Yeah, without a doubt, Kirk. Look, he's the perfect fit for the weather, for the division that they play in. And just think about the kind of offense. You can see what kind of offense they're going to try and run here. This is going to be a first and second down, run first, play action type of passing offense featuring Shady McCoy without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's what they're going to want to do. New offensive coordinator Brian Daboll comes from Alabama.
Yeah.
That's what you look. That's his DNA. We want to run the ball, protect the quarterback, actually get the quarterback in rhythm. And I'll tell you what, when you saw Josh Allen play from under center, run 5-step drop, 7-step drop, take a hitch, and hit those deep passes, that's when he looked most comfortable. You can see what they're going to try and do up there with that. It's still going to be the Shady McCoy show, but that's the perfect offense for a quarterback.
He also
struggles
has
a little bit.
the arm to be able to back those safeties up.
That's right.
The threat, he can
and help the run game.
Yeah,
he also has A.J. McCarron, so he doesn't have to come in and win right away. It's not necessarily have to be his team right away. He'll compete, but A.J. McCarron is there. It's an ever-changing division. Sam Darnold's now with the Jets. Josh Allen's with Buffalo. Tom Brady can't play forever in New England. They got to get a backup to him.
So we believe.
And Miami's got Ryan Tannehill, who's got durability issues. So now we got the Jets and the Bills, maybe with a step up, maybe 2-3 years down the road.
By the way, all these quarterbacks that may be going may be sitting for a while. Meanwhile, it's up to the Bears. Let's go to the commissioner and see what Chicago was going to do. They made the big move up last year to get Mitchell Trubisky with the second overall pick. Where do they go tonight?
With the 8th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Roquan Smith, linebacker, Georgia.
Well, he might have been the best player in the college football playoff, even though Georgia didn't win the national championship. From the hometown of Montezuma, Georgia, he now goes to join the legends of the monsters of the Midway like Butkus, Singletary, Wilbur Marshall, Urlacher, etc. Kirk.
He is a plug-and-play, first day, show up. Could be the rookie of the year type of linebacker, can do it all. In the box, he can play in space. Talk to defensive coordinators in the NFL, and with the way the offensive game is changing, they want guys who are versatile. They can not only defend the run, they can get walked out over a tight end or a back and be able to hold their own defending against them. He can do that. He can blitz. Probably the area he improved the most this year is how well he blitzed and the timing of those blitzes. But I love the awareness in the pass game. Plays almost like a safety. Look at the closing speed after he recognizes the receiver threat and goes up and is able to knock the ball away. So just a total package and a guy that I think steps in right away with a history of the linebackers in Chicago. Perfect pick.
At the second fastest time of all linebackers at the Combine, but don't worry about the Combine, just watch the tape. That man is everywhere, making tackles sideline to sideline. Roquan Smith, they're happy in the hedges on Broad in Athens, Georgia. Roquan is a Bear.
I'm gonna be very Welcome back to the 2018 NFL Draft, presented by Courtyard.
Well, welcome back. A beautiful sunset here. We are on to pick number 9. The San Francisco 49ers are on the clock. We are rolling at warp speed, and we're having a hell of a time. Let's go to the commissioner and find out what San Francisco does now.
With the 9th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Mike McGlinchey, offensive tackle, Notre Dame.
Jimmy Garoppolo now has his protection as the second Notre Dame offensive lineman in the top 10. Mel.
Trey's all about Jimmy Garoppolo. I think you look at what Jimmy Garoppolo means to this football team, and you certainly look at Matt Ryan, the cousin of Matt Ryan at Boston College, Mike McGlinchey at Notre Dame, all about protecting a quarterback in Jimmy G. That's what Mike McGlinchey is going to be asked to do. He was a right tackle turned left tackle. He struggled at times at left tackle. Go back to that Miami of Florida game. Both Nelson and McGlinchey had their share of issues, but at right tackle, he's at his best. He's almost 6'8", 310, 315 pounds. Could get a little stronger, but he's a very competitive kid, highly professional, team leader, and I think for this football team, knowing how important Jimmy Garoppolo is, he would be a foundation piece. He drew comparisons to former LSU star Andrew Whitworth, who people said, hey, he can't play left tackle, he's got to be a right tackle. Maybe McGlinchey surprises Kirk, and maybe he's a little bit better as a left tackle than you think.
Notre Dame has never had 2 offensive linemen go in the top 10. They have 2, which means we still have 1 quarterback yet to be taken waiting back there. And Todd, that's Josh Rosen of UCLA. Where is he going to go now?
Yeah, I would argue the most pro-ready of all these quarterbacks, but there's durability concerns. Oakland Raiders obviously don't need a quarterback. Are they going to make a move? Could a team like Arizona sitting at 15 try to trade up to that spot? That's the big question. Miami's the wild card. They have a quarterback in Tannehill, but they really have struggled with his durability issues. Now, they're going to bring in another quarterback who has durability issues is the big question. There is a relationship between Adam Gase and Jed Fish, who was the Josh Rosen offensive coordinator a year ago. And then lurking down here, a couple other teams. Baltimore Ravens could be looking for the future of quarterback. And we know the Patriots with 2 first-round picks and a bunch of picks in the first couple rounds. It's going to be interesting.
All right, Todd, thanks very much. As Josh Rosen waits to hear when his name will be called, we have a trade. The Raiders have moved back, and guess who has moved up? That would be the Arizona Cardinals. This sounds, Lewis, one more time, like a move up to take a quarterback. The question is, will it be Josh Rosen? Maybe Lamar Jackson? What do you think happens here with Arizona moving up?
Well, I definitely think it's going to be a quarterback, but you bring up a great point. Could it be Lamar Jackson? Could Lamar Jackson actually have leapfrog Josh Rosen in this draft? And I'll tell you what, look, Mike McCoy, the offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals, he's one of the most innovative play callers and innovative offensive play designers in the NFL. Look, Bruce Arians himself said Lamar Jackson would fit very well in Arizona. This is going to be interesting to watch here. I like Josh Rosen. I thought Josh Rosen was going to be off the board much sooner than this. He can sling it. He can play. This is a good one to watch here,
what's amazing about Josh Rosen, of all these quarterbacks, the guy who's coming out who's probably the most ready as far as fundamentals in the college game are concerned is him.
Yeah.
The thing with him is when the pocket's clean, which how often is the pocket clean in the NFL, he's going to make every read. He's going to make every throw. The concern, I think, is when things break down. A lot of these other guys can create and make a play happen. He has a tendency to put the ball into coverage. So, but, I mean, I can't believe he's still sitting there with a chance to go to Arizona.
Well, it is interesting, as you alluded to, Mel. We had Bruce Arians on Golic and Wingo, 6 to 10 on ESPN News and ESPN Radio. And he said he thought Lamar Jackson would be a perfect fit for the Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals had to get ahead of Miami, and I think that was the whole key to their football team and their organization's thought process. You think about where they are. Sam Bradford, can he stay healthy? And that's the question. So if you draft a quarterback like Rosen, who's had injury issues, or Lamar Jackson, who needs time, will those quarterbacks be afforded that, particularly Jackson, where Rosen's more NFL ready? Bradford gets hurt. Hey, maybe he's the guy who could step in where I don't think Lamar Jackson could right away. It's going to be an interesting dynamic. How they feel about Bradford's ability to play 16 games could impact this decision.
This is interesting. I mean, this is where it's interesting because there are a million ways they can go, and depending on how they go, may tell us what they think about Sam Bradford is going to be available to do. We all know what Sam Bradford can do, but the question is, do they believe he's going to be available to do it for them?
Yeah, the one thing that I will say is this. Like, they also have Mike Glennon, too. Now, I know people are going to say, well, they still have just Sam Bradford. Because people will just dismiss Mike Glennon. But look, this is still a situation here where a young quarterback will very much so benefit from going to a place like this because of what I talked about earlier, Herbert, about the quarterback room being constructed in such a way that players just learn differently from other players than they do from coaches. And that's not to take anything away from coaches, because we know it's important. But you can relate to one another in ways that maybe coaches can't. This is you know, really it's a sneaky destination place for a young quarterback where if I'm Lamar Jackson or I'm Josh Rosen, I'm not angry right now. I'm hoping I'm the guy.
Fitzgerald.
I'm hoping I'm the guy.
And also keep in mind, guys, in the crosstown rivalry game, Josh Rosen outplayed Sam Darnold.
No doubt.
He went right on after that game to SportsCenter. It was no contest. He was the better quarterback, yet he's still on the board. Why? Because there are durability concerns, a shoulder injury 2 years ago, then the concussion protocol twice this year. concussions. Then you factor in, can he galvanize the team? Is he a natural leader that these guys are going to want to go and know, hey, I get the ball at the 10-yard line, I got to go 90 yards. You can do it. He came up short against Memphis. He had the ball around midfield, a couple minutes to go against a bad Memphis defense, and he didn't get it done. He makes some ill-advised throws, some bad decisions here and there. For such an incredibly bright, smart kid on the field, there's some common sense things he doesn't do. So I think Rosen here, though, Kurt Herbie, you would never have thought, I think a month ago, he would be here at this spot in the draft.
There's one thing about Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold is when the game would get tight, great quarterbacks, not on my watch. We're not losing this game right now. You felt that. Josh Rosen, if you took Josh Rosen off of UCLA and you put him at Oklahoma, you took Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold and put him with UCLA, I don't know if the team that Josh Rosen goes to is able to maintain the level that SC and Oklahoma played at. But I do think you would see a significant jump only because of galvanizing, as you said, a team and getting them to believe in who you are.
And remember the A&M game, Texas A&M game, first game, he came back from way down. He made some throws in that game were just lucky to be completed.
Right.
Jordan Lastly made some key catches. A&M had a chance for some interceptions. Ball went through the defensive back's hands. So I think he's got to make better decisions on the field.
Keep this in mind. If it is a quarterback, it would be the first time in the common draft era that we have 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10 picks. We told you this was going to be maybe an historic night. It is playing out that way. Again, Arizona gets 10. The Raiders get the 15th overall pick, a 3rd-round pick, and a 5th-round pick this year. The pick is in. Here comes Roger Goodell across the podium, and now the question becomes, will this be the first time ever 4 quarterbacks in the top 10 picks of the draft?
The Oakland Raiders have traded the 10th pick to the Arizona Cardinals. With the 10th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Josh Rosen, quarterback, UCLA.
And we've got history. First time in the common draft era, 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10. He was called Chosen Rosen when he showed up and was handed the keys to the kingdom as a freshman at UCLA. And Arizona has chosen Rosen to give him the keys in 2018. Bradford is there. Glennon is there. Rosen is the future. Josh, give you some hints. Find Larry Fitzgerald early, find Larry Fitzgerald often, and occasionally look for that guy David Johnson out of the backfield. From Manhattan Beach, California, to Phoenix, Arizona, and what a lineage he comes from on so many levels. Josh Rosen's great-great-great-grandfather was Joseph Wharton, who founded the Wharton School of Business by donating $100,000 in 1881. His father, Charles Rosen, is a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, a world-renowned surgeon, and also a gold medalist ice dancer, as is his mother, Liz Lippincott, who also went to Princeton University, and she was also a gold medal ice dancer. Josh Rosen, as they say, the bloodlines are strong here. But you know what? The highlights are strong as well for Josh Rosen.
He can spin it. And then, Lewis, that's the thing. I mean, he's artistic throwing the football. And at 6'4", 225 pounds, you see him, Lewis, 3, 5, 7-step drop. He's definitely NFL ready.
Look, there's a certain type of quarterback, if you look at the quarterbacks they've already acquired in Arizona, that they're looking for. Look, Sam Bradford is not Mr. Mobile either. Mike Glennon isn't either. So obviously there's a profile that they're looking for. And I'll tell you this, when you think about Mike McCoy down there, the offensive coordinator, they're going to want a quarterback with a high football IQ. A guy who can do a lot of work at the line of scrimmage and get them in the football plays that keep him out of harm's way. And I think Josh Rosen is tailor-made to do that. Look, Josh Rosen himself has said, and we've watched enough NFL football to know this, you don't have to be a Houdini escape artist in the pocket in order to survive in the NFL and play a long time and deal the football. But you have to be smart, you have to be aware, you have to understand what's happening post-snap. I think this kid can do it. I'm happy as heck for him. Like I said, I think this is an undercover destination plays, Arizona, because I think this is an organization that's resetting and starting over.
Well, look, he said in a pre-draft interview, he's pretty confident that he's going to be the one standing when it's all said and done. Well, right now, courtesy of DXL, Josh Rosen is standing with our Susie Colbert.
Josh, the Cards traded up for you. How would you describe the emotion when that call finally came?
I'm motivated. I'm more motivated than I've ever been in my entire life. And I just want to get in the hunt and win Super Bowls. Motivated is the word. Very motivated.
You know, you learned that the draft process is like a gauntlet. How would you analyze all the scrutiny?
I don't care. I just want to put some pads on and start playing ball. I mean, this has been an unbelievable experience. Met a lot of amazing people from all around the country. Now I'm just excited to get to work.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Miami's on the clock. Let's go upstairs to Morton Adams.
Thanks, Susie. The Arizona Cardinals had to get a quarterback in this draft. That's the feeling. Despite having Sam Bradford and Mike Glennon signed, Seattle has Russell Wilson. 49ers have Jimmy Garoppolo. The Rams have Jared Goff. And they didn't have enough ammo to go up and get Josh Allen.
And keep this in mind, too, more. Last year, the Arizona Cardinals would have liked to have drafted Patrick Mahomes. They didn't get him. They wanted Kirk Cousins in free agency this offseason. They didn't get him. They liked Josh Allen, didn't get him, so now they traded a 1, 3, and 5 to go up to Oakland to get Josh Rosen. Trey?
All right, Mort, Adam, thanks very much. So we have both USC and UCLA quarterbacks going in the first round. Kirk, you're all in on Josh Rosen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he started 30 games, 3 years, 3 different offensive coordinators. Where I think he'll benefit the most is having Jed Fish, who has a lot of NFL experience, brought a system that I think will make it a little bit easier in transitioning to the league. He's quick with his reads, has quick eyes. Like I said, the area he's going to have to improve is the improvisation, ability to try to make plays. You know, just a little, you don't have to run all over the place, but just getting out of the pocket and making plays and not throwing the ball into traffic will be an area I'm sure they're going to focus on.
By the way, the only other time we had a USC and UCLA quarterback in the same draft, 1989.
Troy Aikman,
#1 overall, and Rodney Peete in the 6th round. Never before in the first 2. Miami is on the clock. Let's go out to the commissioner and see what they're going to do.
With the 11th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Minkah Fitzpatrick, defensive back, Alabama.
Well, no surprise that another Alabama defensive back goes high in the draft. Minkah Fitzpatrick played a little bit of everything for Nick Saban and was called Nick Saban's son because everything that Saban wanted done is exactly the way Minkah Fitzpatrick played it out for the national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. Mel, he's versatile and he's really good.
Talking about high football IQ, he has that. I mean, Nick Saban raved about this kid. I mean, he's a defensive coordinator on the field, Herbie. He's played corner, slot corner. He's played safety. He's done it all. All-time leader, school all-time leader at Alabama in career interception return for touchdowns. He had 4 of those. When he gets a chance to get the turnover, he's got the hands to catch the ball, get the turnover, get the interception. He sets everybody up, Herbie, on defense. He is a team leader, and he is a guy everybody respects.
I remember watching him in his first scrimmage as a true freshman in their home stadium. It was a closed practice. And you're looking at all these superstar juniors and seniors, and I keep seeing 29 making plays. And when he'd come off the field, he'd stand next to Mel Tucker, the defensive coordinator, and Kirby Smart, asking questions. The kid was 18. He's been on campus for 2 weeks. He has the intangibles and the leadership qualities that are very unique.
Well, not only that, he won the Jim Thorpe Award last year as the best defensive back and the Chuck Bednarik Award for the best defensive player. Only Charles Woodson and Patrick Peterson had pulled off that double dip before. Let's go down courtesy of DXL to Susie with Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Well, Trey, he's always known as being so serious. Your parents hoped you could enjoy the moment. How would you describe the moment?
Oh, man, it's unreal. It's unreal. This is it's a blessing. Of course, I just want to thank God for giving me this opportunity just to be here. But, you know, it's an honor and blessing. I'm really excited. Miami is a great place to be. Got great fans, and I'm just honored. I'm honored.
You know, along the journey, your family lost their home in Old Bridge, New Jersey to Hurricane Irene. There were times where you offered to give up football. How did you get here?
I just kept my faith. You know, God got me through some tough times, and as a family, we just stuck together as a unit and got through it.
Minkah, congratulations. You're a Miami Dolphin.
Thank you.
And the draft continues. The Tampa Bay Bucks are on the clock.
Well, it's been a record-setting night here inside AT&T Stadium. We had 4 quarterbacks go in the first 10 picks for the first time dating back to, well, ever. It had never happened before. What do we have in store for you for the rest of the night? Just hang with us because it's been a roller coaster ride. The pick is in for the Tampa Bay Bucks, who traded back, and they have made their selection. Commissioner Roger Goodell walking to the podium. Let's find out who it's going to be.
With the 12th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Vita Vea, defensive tackle, Washington.
A big man gets a big night, but if we're going to be honest, when you become a first-round pick, let's call him by his full name. Tavita Tuilakiono Tuipoloto Masese Va'ahe Faliatu Vea. He gets the entire selection, baby. And the Tampa Bay Bucks, Gerald McCoy and Vita Vea. Are you kidding me?
I was going to say, the first thing I thought of was Gerald McCoy.
Yeah,
and his quickness next to Vita Vea and his size, 6'4", about 350 pounds. Keep in mind when you watch him play, he played wildcat quarterback in high school and tailback. He carried the football because he was so agile and athletic. Combination, size, and power. He had 41 reps at 225 at a combine, has tremendous feet, able to move around, able to actually work as a 2-gap or at times able to shoot gaps. So this guy, I think, has a lot. He's bringing a lot to the table because of the way he can not only eat up space against the run. That's what he's known for, is defending the run. But with Gerald McCoy next to him, you put him one-on-one, I don't care who it is, in the interior of an offensive line, he's going to move people around and take them places they don't want to go.
Yeah, there's no question that Vita Vea is a fantastic football player. And quite honestly, look, I've seen him rush from a wide 9 technique in a 3-man line, and I was sitting there going, is that Vita Vea sitting out there at defensive end? But look, they've already revamped their defensive line. They added Jason Pierre-Paul. They added Vinny Curry. They signed Bo Allen. So this is a little bit shocking to me because this is a team that gives up yards easily, like in droves through the air. They can't stop anybody.
And yet Derwin James.
So why was there? This one shocks me a little bit. I'll tell you. And I respect this front office, but this one shocks me.
To that point, they allowed 6 yards per play last year, the most in the NFL. They certainly feel like they're stocking up to stop the run with, as you said, Bo Allen, Vinny Curry, and everybody else that they got on that squad.
Yeah, I mean, those guys can rush the passer. Now, Vinny Curry can rush the passer. Bo Allen's a run stopper. JPP's a pass rusher. Gerald McCoy can rush the passer and stop the run. So, look, you can never go wrong with defensive linemen, but they need secondary help in the worst way. And I don't understand how Derwin James
is sitting out there.
Yeah, I think it's a surprise that they didn't take Derwin James. I think what they're hoping with Vita Vea, he becomes a Lodi Nada. And if you pass on Derwin James, you got to get that. Lewis, you got to get a guy who's not just a guy who's a guy can plug in there next to McCoy. Maybe McCoy with a future. They bring in Vea because of that. They don't know what's going on there. But our bottom line is he better be Nada-like to justify taking him here and have a stud safety like Derwin James.
And all of a sudden, Washington, maybe another Sean Taylor type. You talked about you being in the front office when they selected Sean Taylor. Derwin James sitting there, who knows? Maybe they're thinking
so, Mel, with that in mind, is he the best still available? Take us through your board, brought to you by Courtyard. Take us through the best available
Derwin James is the best available player, and I think you look at what he brings to the table. He's a true safety with awesome, freakish talent. He came back from that knee injury, and he did a real good job this past year. Had that knee injury 2 seasons ago. Tremaine Edmonds is a guy who is a physically and athletically talented inside linebacker, could project outside as well. Then you have Deron Payne, who I'd argue was more disruptive than Vita Vea on the interior for Alabama. Lamar Jackson, we know who he is and what he can do if handled properly. And Taven Bryan is a J.J. Watt talent without the consistent productivity. That's why he's still on the board. But I'm really surprised that Derwin James is still sitting here with Minkah Fitzpatrick gone, Denzel Ward gone. Best true safety on the board. He had a phenomenal workout. He's going to be 2 years removed now from that knee injury going into this season. Derwin James is going to be a really good pick for somebody.
Oh, yeah. And the versatility is as good as Minkah's. He can do it all. I remember his defensive coordinator, Charles Kelly, we'd go in there and visit with him and talk to him about Derwin James, and he would tell us literally he could play any position on the field, not just safety or nickel, corner. He could play linebacker. He
did do that. He lined up on the defensive line and rushed the passer at times.
A great blitzer off that slot, covering the slot. He's long, rangy. There's a lot to like about him.
I'll tell you, a guy like Vita Vea, I could have seen going to the Washington Redskins. They need interior beef. They need to stop the run. They were 32nd in rush defense last year. You know, they'll get Jonathan Allen back this year, and quite honestly, the run defense just fell off a cliff when Jonathan Allen got hurt last year.
Hold on.
This is a little bit interesting.
Did you just say you could see him going to Washington?
I mean, I could have seen him going
we
to
have a
Vita
trade.
Vea.
Oh, Vita Vea.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Because we have a trade, ladies and gentlemen, and the Washington Redskins are now on the clock. And this has been an unusual situation as the Raiders have moved back twice now. It's gone a little crazy. Oh, they had this spot. I'm sorry. I put them in the wrong spot. Okay. That one's on me. We redo it. So the Washington Redskins have had a very busy offseason, of course, first and foremost, with the trade away. They traded away for Alex Smith and sent away Kirk Cousins, who signed that big deal in free agency. They let him go to Minnesota. So Alex Smith is there, a little older than Kirk Cousins was in Washington, but they're expecting, obviously, him to do great things and basically kind of do the things that they had done for Kirk Cousins the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'll tell you, one of the things that Alex Smith does, and people just forget, is the fact that this guy can create too. He's a tremendous athlete who has developed into one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. Everybody used to, look, I used to criticize Alex Smith as Mr. Dink and Dunk. Andy Reid actually made me shut my mouth this year because it was, when he threw the ball, it was accurate. I think Washington, quite honestly, upgraded at quarterback this year. We'll see, and I never thought I would say that about Alex Smith, and I respect the heck out of him. I think they made a great move by getting him.
First 4,000 passing yard season of his career, an exceptional touchdown interception rate. I think it was 27-6. And 68% complete. So he played very well, and they couldn't get rid of him fast enough for Patrick Mahomes, the guy you love, by the way. So it is the Washington Redskins with the pick. Commissioner Goodell is walking to the podium, and we'll find out what the next step is in the revamping of the Washington Redskins, seeing the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, in their division win the Super Bowl.
With the 13th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Daron Payne, defensive tackle, Alabama.
Well, there you see Daron on the phone. So for the second straight year in the first round, they take a defensive lineman, Alabama. How versatile is this guy? Just watch Mel 6 minutes of the semifinal game against Clemson when he had an interception and a touchdown catch as a defensive lineman.
This is where you throw stats out the window. He was a disruptive force for Alabama, very athletic. He was a guy that became a key entity that allowed this Alabama defense to continue to play at a high level despite so many losses that they have every year that they sustain. He is a guy, gets into that backfield, frees up your linebackers, they penetrate and makes plays. Herbie, to me, they were soft in the belly. I had Payne rated ahead of Vea. The Redskins at 13 get a guy who's a hole filler. Jonathan Allen was great till he got hurt. They hope Payne can be the immediate starter.
You know, he had to wait his time in Tuscaloosa. He had Jonathan Allen and Brian Anderson, other guys that had been there over the years, Ashawn Robinson, Jaron Reed, and he took advantage of that this past year. Known as a run stuffer, but got lighter, got stronger, and got much quicker. He doesn't have a lot of production as far as sacks, but he got a lot of quarterback hurries because he forced those quarterbacks to get rid of the ball.
Just watch the game against Clemson. By the way, they offered him as a 15-year-old. Nick Saban said we don't do that. Then they saw him and said we do that. We have another trade, by the way. I just got ahead of myself. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
Today is my day. It's my day. And no matter what they say.
Woo! Aerial coverage of tonight's first-round draft provided by Goodyear. Kick off your drive with tires that return superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. We are rolling along at superior pace, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost halfway through the first round, and it has been quarterback rich. We have 4 in the first 10 picks for the first time ever. Baker Mayfield led it off with the Browns, Darnold to the Jets, the Bills trade up for Josh Allen, and the Cardinals traded up for Josh Rosen. And speaking of trades, we got us another one. The New Orleans Saints have moved all the way up to the 14th overall pick. The Green Bay Packers trade back, getting the 27th pick, a 5th-round pick in 2018, and look at that 2019 first-round pick. So they pick up a first-round pick. Where do we think New Orleans is going here? Because if you've listened to Sean Payton, the head coach, over the last few weeks, he's been talking a lot about the potential of a guy like Lamar Jackson?
Well, look, in order for them to give up a future first-rounder like that in the subsequent years, they wanted to get up their bed. There's somebody that they wanted. And if you're just trying to read the team leaves a little bit, look at the two teams they jumped over, right? They jump over Baltimore, they jump over the Chargers. Both teams that need to find the heir apparent also. It leads you to believe it could be quarterback. We'll see.
Yeah, we have no idea, but if it is Lamar Jackson, you were talking in our meeting, making some great points about a fit and a system and Sean Payton type of guy coming from a Bobby Petrino's NFL-style system. All that makes sense if it ends up being Lamar Jackson.
No doubt. And I think you look at this situation there with Drew Brees, how many more years is Drew going to play at a high level?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, we know, needs time. Who's a great coordinator of offensive football, who's an offensive mastermind, is Sean Payton, who did a great job with Deshaun Watson. Bill O'Brien did tailor the offense to suit his strengths. You know he will do that. Coaches that force him to do what I do are not great coaches. They're very bad coaches. And I think you look at Sean Payton, he's a great offensive coach. He will do that, what Bill O'Brien did. If in fact, Lamar Jackson's a pick here, he could have asked for a better landing spot.
Not only that, but remember what they did last year. They crushed the Saints, their first 4 picks. Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Marcus Williams, despite the play at the end of the game against Minnesota, and Alvin Kamara. Those were their first 4. That's how you go from missing the playoffs for 3 straight years to making it back into the postseason.
Who, if it's not Lamar, what do the Saints look? What do they need? Why are they willing to go up that high and give up that first round next
pick.
year? Who
I don't
else
know.
would it be?
I mean, I don't know if it's not Lamar. I mean, look, they could use more defensive linemen. Cam Jordan could still use more help. They could use linebacker play. I don't think it's a guy like Jermaine Edmonds. Could it be? I mean, in the secondary, look, they have really got some good young corners here. Could they be looking to add another safety anyway? I mean, who knows here?
Look, they went from a pass-only team to a run team and a defensive team last year that they hadn't been for the last 3 years, when they were literally in almost every category over that 3-year period, the worst defense in football. They fixed that up. They scored 47 in Buffalo last year without Drew Brees throwing a touchdown pass. That had happened never in the Drew Brees era. So they changed the way they did business. Allen, their new defensive coordinator last year, did a great job for them. They became a more versatile team with the way they drafted last year. The question becomes, giving up a first-round pick, who is the player that they are willing to go out there and get if it isn't a Lamar Jackson?
Right. It has to be a premium position then. If it's not quarterback, it has to be pass rush, defensive tackle, the kind of guys that you go ahead and you extend for. We'll see.
Well, let's find out who that is. We want to know. New Orleans, tell us. Roger Goodell walking to the podium now with the big move up for the New Orleans Saints, and see which direction they are headed in after a year in which they made it back to the playoffs. Thought they had that game against Minnesota won until what became known as the Hail Millie for the longtime Minnesota fan at her first playoff game.
The Green Bay Packers have traded the 14th pick to the New Orleans Saints. With the 14th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Marcus Davenport, defensive end, Texas San Antonio.
Whoa!
Gave up all that.
Well, the Roadrunners, having been playing football since 2011, the only other player they've drafted, a 6th-round tight end named David Morgan. Now they get Marcus Davenport, just like Myles Garrett a year ago, a warrior poet. He journals, he writes poetry, he wears a shirt that said we should all be feminists. He was 3 pounds when he was born as a preemie baby. His parents could hold him in his hand, and now the Saints are holding his hand saying, brother, let's go, Lewis.
Look, they needed another pass rusher. We just said it. It had to be a premium position. Cam Jordan needs a running mate. Now he's got one. And I'll tell you what, Marcus Davenport is one of those scheme versatile type of players that would allow you to switch from a 3-4 to a 4-3, and you can see why. He's a great athlete. He can rush from a 2-point. Look what he does to this running back. The running back, you can't soft set on Marcus Davenport like that. By the way, that's what's going to happen. He's a guy who makes explosive point of attack plays. Not just routine point of attack plays, but when he hits you, he separates you from the ball. Now, when he wants to rush, he can go high side like that, and he can dip and rip and bend and close the corner. Or he can rush with power, he can rush on stunts, he can close on the quarterback with tremendous speed, and he is a tremendous finisher. But again, watch this highlight and see the different ways in which you can picture them using this guy. You can use him as a stand-up outside 3-4 outside linebacker. You can put his hand down. You can rush him inside of the guard in a 2-point stance, use him as a joker. You can move him all over the place. Cam Jordan needed a buddy. They got him a buddy right now.
Well,
and that's perfect.
To your point, he had 13 sacks last year. The next highest sacker was Alex Okafor with 4.5. Marcus, we're going to need you to do more than 4.5 in 2018. You're headed to the Bayou, baby.
Welcome back to the 2018 NFL Draft. The Oakland Raiders are on the clock at the 15th overall pick. Who are they going to take? We're going to find out now.
With the 15th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select Kolton Miller, offensive tackle, UCLA.
You look at Kolton Miller, guys. I talk about a guy who's a freakish talent. 6'8.5", 310 pounds. He'll get bigger, and he will get stronger. He still did 24 reps at the combine. It was a little bit better than I think a lot of people thought. He is a kid, has tight end speed, and as a left tackle has incredible feet. He got better and better. He's played some right tackle as well. Think about John Gruden and the Oakland Raiders. It's all about keeping Derek Carr upright and getting Derek Carr back to where we know he can be. And I think for Kolton Miller, he was a key entity for Josh Rosen. Like I say, his feet, his balance in pass protection. He deals with those shorter defensive ends very effectively. I think you look at the best UCLA tackle since Jonathan Ogden, athletically and physically, is Kolton Miller. I think if you can look where he'll be maybe 2-3 years down the road, he could be one of the best left tackles in the game. He has that type of potential. He's not there yet, but certainly for what they need for Derek Carr, he fills a need area for the Oakland Raiders.
6'9", 309 pounds. Let me repeat that again. 6'9", 309 pounds. We don't know what he will be at the next level, but we know that he has good ideas. He comes from Roseville, California, and says his favorite NFL player of all time, a fellow Roseville, California high school alum. He goes by the name of Teddy Bruschi, ladies and gentlemen. And if Brew Crew is your guy, Kolton Miller, you are our guy. So well done as Kolton Miller now goes to the Oakland Raiders and try and be the blindside protection for Derek Carr with the Raiders. So we've got another trade here. Let's get you the particulars of the trade here as we are approaching the halfway point of the first round. Kirk, don't get used to this.
No, he called that 2 or 3 picks ago.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Listen, that's why his hair is so big. It's a big brain he's got in there.
Well, Baltimore's his squad.
Well, listen, on Saturday he'll be talking about which Calvert Hall high school player is back.
Yeah, exactly.
We got one in Mike.
I see, there you go. 16th overall pick, the Bills. They get that one and a 2018 5th-round pick. The Ravens move back to the 22nd overall pick and pick up a 3rd-round pick in this year's draft, which would be the 65th pick overall. Okay, so Buffalo moved up to get a quarterback. Where do we think they're moving up to get now?
Well, you think defensive players like Derwin James and Tremaine Edmonds is a name we haven't really talked about a lot, but Tremaine Edmonds is a gifted athlete. He's a linebacker. We play inside or outside. Great bloodlines as well with his brother, with his father, who's an outstanding tight end coming out of Maryland. I think Tremaine Edmonds is a guy to watch at this portion of round 1.
And we still have Calvin Ridley. We haven't seen a receiver yet. And you got a new quarterback. Wouldn't mind having a new weapon potentially. Brian Dable coached him in college at Alabama, so there's familiarity there. But there's some great players still out on the board there. You mentioned James and Edmonds. Rashaan Evans is still out there.
James is still sitting there.
Jair Alexander's, I think you can make a case that he's the top corner out there. I know Denzel Ward's already gone, but there's some great names out there for Buffalo to pick.
So this is what we talked about pre-draft, about the fact that once the quarterback drama was gone, there's going to be some great players sitting there where literally GMs are sitting there going, how do we have it ranked? Let's just read the board and take best player available. This is really where best player available comes into play here.
Is that where it weighs in a little bit more than need? I mean, you get to the middle.
Well, sure. I mean, right now, of course, you're trying to take best player available, maybe at the position that you need.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, we got to find out what the pick is in for Buffalo. They got a cornerback last year, Tre'Davious White out of LSU, that played very well for them. Will they go down that road again? Buffalo, you made the playoffs. You believe you've got your franchise quarterback. Here we go.
The Baltimore Ravens have traded the 16th pick to the Buffalo Bills. With the 16th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, Virginia Tech.
Well, if you're the Buffalo Bills, you're thinking we've had success going this route before. Remember, it was in 1985 that they took a pass rusher out of Virginia Tech. His name was Bruce Smith. That worked out okay. And Lewis,
is he good?
Or Kirk, Tremaine Edwards, we like what we've seen here out of this guy at Virginia Tech from the Hokies.
Well, he has the rare combination of size and speed. And he's 6'5", 253 pounds, and runs a 4.5. I mean, you just don't see linebackers like that. And I think he has some versatility. Play at 3-4, he can be an outside linebacker, he can play inside, he can play in space again. He can rush the quarterback, so I think there are a lot of things there to like. I think the one thing you want to see him continue to grow in is just being a little bit more forceful in the way he approaches the game and makes plays behind the line of scrimmage. Sometimes he's a grabber. He kind of pulls people down. I think people want to see him become more like a Roquan Smith who doesn't hesitate and accelerates through a ball carrier, kind of more of an intimidating style. He wasn't that kind of player in Blacksburg for Virginia Tech.
He's 19 years of age.
Absolutely.
He turns 20 next week. He's got a birthday on May 2nd. One of the youngest players you will see coming into a draft process is Tremaine Edmonds. And what John Gruden always talked about, height and length of inside linebackers really bothers quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And that's what Edmonds brings to that position at almost 6'4", 255 pounds. With his length, with his long arms, he will be a major factor on that defense.
He can do a lot of different things for you, too.
The middle linebacker for this football team last year, Preston Brown, I mean,
Yep.
he led the NFL in tackles,
Yep.
and he's gone.
Yep.
They needed somebody in the middle. Look, think Luke Kuechly, all right? So not to say that Tremaine Edmonds is Luke Kuechly, but he needs a guy who can run and hit. First and foremost, an athlete that he can develop, that can run and hit. There's no question Tremaine needs to develop his key and diagnose.
Yeah.
Where are your eyes so you can play faster? And then, look, I've been with Sean McDermott. I was with him in Philadelphia. The first thing he's going to tell linebackers is, you better insert and play downhill and play physical. That's not his game. We're going to see if he can get that out of him. Absolutely, he's going to learn.
Well, to Mel's point, he won't be 20 until next month. He's 19 years old. He's the first teenager drafted since Amobi Okoye went to the Houston Texans in 2007. So he's young. By the way, he's got a brother that's probably going to be drafted sometime over the next couple days as well, the safety. So the Edmonds brothers, and by the way, that will end an unbelievable run of Virginia Tech players at Virginia Tech that started with their father, Farrell Edmonds, who was a tight end drafted by the Miami Dolphins in the late 80s.
Played against him.
But it ain't about dad right now. It's about the future. That's what that sign says. The future is now. Let's go down, courtesy of DXL, and talk to Susie Culver with the teenager.
Yes, but Trey, one of the great football families of our time, cheering you on from the green room. You've gone number 16 overall to the Bills. What does this mean to your family?
It means everything to me. You know, I got a good support system. You know, a lot of family came out. A lot of friends came out. I can't thank them enough, man. It's a special moment for me, and I know it's a special moment for them, so I really appreciate everything.
You know, your mom shares the story that before you ever took the field, you were just a little boy. You declared that you were going to be a great football player. What should Bills fans know?
You know, that's a guy that's all in, a guy that's going to give it 100%, and a guy that still has stuff to prove. And, you know, I can promise you I'm going to play good football.
And it's not over for the Edmonds family. Terrell shouldn't have long to wait, Trey.
All right, Susie, thanks very much. We will be back in 15 seconds with the Chargers on the clock. But first, here's a look at one of the most promising talents in this year's draft class from Bud Light.
Here's a guy we expect to go early, the Bud Knight. Take a look at him, folks. Clocking a blistering 40, horseback and otherwise. Excellent decision-making. A complete athlete and a heck of a leader on the field. The perfect first-round draft pick for any team.
There's a look at the LA Chargers draft room in Costa Mesa, California, as we are looking at the back half of the first round of the draft already. Warp speed as we are going through it. And Lewis, you look at what Anthony Lynn and company was able to do last year. Let's be honest, if they had had a decent kicker, they would have been a playoff team. It was kicking problems that kept them out. Now, they have Phillip Rivers in that draft class with Big Ben and Eli Manning in 2004. They did bring in Baker Mayfield, and of course there was the issue not studying my playbook, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. Tom Telesco says he has a lot on his plate too.
Yeah.
Little shot at Baker for what he said. Would they be looking maybe at someone to replace Phillip Rivers, or is there another dying need for this team?
Yeah, I think that they could. I mean, quarterback could be a consideration, but I think they need an interior defensive player to go with Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa.
Who is
This is a team that was soft to the middle. Look, a guy like Taven Bryan can be on the board right here, the defensive tackle from Florida. A guy who's an upfield charger. A guy who, quite honestly, has the best get-off of any interior defensive lineman in this draft. Picture him with Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. That would be something to watch now. That would be something to watch. They need to shore up the middle of their defense. They need linebacker help as well. So could a guy like Rashaan Evans be on the board right now? Could that be in consideration? Sure, it could. I think the middle of the defense for the San Diego Chargers is something that needs to be addressed. I think there's some players that could do it here.
Yeah, they were hoping Jerron Payne, Alabama, Vita Vea, Washington would drop down to them. Obviously, you think about Derwin James, he's still on the board, but I agree, up the gut. That belly of that defense was so soft. I mean, it was so easy to get yards against that defense. They were strong on the outside. That inside of that defense, really suspect, and that's the area they got to hit.
Yep. And listen, that AFC West is so competitive now. We believe the Chiefs are going to be pretty good with Patrick Mahomes. Case Keenum clearly an upgrade for the Denver Broncos at quarterback, and now you've got Von Miller on one side, and you got Bradley Chubb on the other side. And then, of course, the Raiders. Remember, just a year ago, they looked like they were cruising and in place to do really good things in the playoffs until Derek Carr got hurt late in the season. They stumbled last year. Now Chucky is back, John Gruden. They're going through the process. But a couple of years ago, Denver went through this division 5 straight division titles. Yeah. They never made the playoffs 5 straight years before. And now we're looking at one of the deeper divisions in football, and the middle of that defense is going to be a big problem.
Yeah, look, scoring points is not going to be a problem for the for the LA Chargers.
Oh, that's a fine. That's a fine. That's a fine.
Scoring points won't be a problem. They have to address the interior of this defense because it could go a long way towards getting them to where they want to go, which is the top of the AFC West.
And again, it was just the kicking last year more than anything else that did them.
I don't think they're going to take a kicker.
No, can confirm it will not be a kicker. Here's the commissioner.
With the 17th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Derwin James, defensive back, Florida State.
Oh, and a little shuffle for Derwin James, nicknamed Pooh Bear, verbally committed to Florida State at the age of 14. Jalen Ramsey was telling anybody who would listen that this was the best player in the entire draft. His versatility was used all over the place for the Seminoles, and now he is a member of the Los Angeles Chargers. Time now for a relentless moment, brought to you by Century 21. Lewis, show us how relentless Derwin James is.
You know how long I've been waiting to show this tape back right here. You have any idea how long this guy can do anything? Look, I said they need to fortify the middle of the defense. I just wasn't really expecting it to be safety. This guy has the movement patterns of a guy who I love and who I hold very dear to my heart. I'm not even going to mention his name right now.
Say it.
Derwin James can play all disciplines as far as safety is concerned. He can cover tight ends. He can back off here against a number 3 wide receiver in the slot. He can play what they call half-turn flat-foot man coverage, break on the ball and break it up. And here's the thing that he does the most. Watch his body language. Watch his body language. Watch him track down this running back out here on the perimeter. And watch this. That is what I'm talking about. We had a safety in Washington who used to do that. A guy who wore number 21 named Sean Taylor. And Derwin James, I'm not saying he's Sean Taylor, but he has those movement patterns. He has that body language. I love this pick.
He also says his intelligence level as former coach heads is off the charts. Derwin James is happy, so are we.
I'm gonna be very legendary.
Well, we're here at AT&T Stadium. It's more than just a football field. It's an amazing facility. Thanks to the Jones family, there are more than 50 pieces of artwork both in the stadium and around the grounds, all part of the Dallas Cowboys art collection and fully accessible to the public. We like to be fully accessible for every single pick in this draft. We are already in the back half of the first round. Mel, your best available players, please.
You see Lamar Jackson, a quarterback that figures, I think, to go somewhere in this portion of round 1. Taven Bryan, a defensive tackle, Florida. If he was more productive, could have gone a little bit higher. Then you get the receivers. Haven't come off the board yet. Calvin Ridley, Alabama. Who I really like as a guy I think so underrated. You're getting him at a steal in terms of a bargain point in the first round for a kid who was productive despite a great passing quarterback. And DJ Moore from Maryland played with 3 or 4 different quarterbacks, had a great workout, has return skills. He's a big-time player. Then the cornerback run with Jair Alexander, Louisville, Josh Jackson, Iowa, Mike Hughes, Central Florida. You will see a run on corners starting pretty soon.
Well, there has been a trade. The Green Bay Packers traded with the New Orleans Saints. The Saints moved up. The Packers moved back. The Packers have now moved up, and the Packers are now on the clock.
Got to believe corner.
Or maybe a wide receiver. They let Jordy Nelson go.
But I got to believe corner. So think about it. They had Marcus Davenport, and they passed on him. They let New Orleans get him. They needed a pass rusher. They didn't obviously like Marcus Davenport enough to take him. Now they jump back up. If I'm jumping up, I'm getting Jair Alexander or Josh Jackson. But Alexander's a playmaker. I think kind of a little Deion-like. Hey, he's got return skills.
He brings return skills and better man-to-man skills as well compared to Josh Jackson.
Well, the one man they want to make sure they keep happy is Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback, who was none too pleased that his quarterback coach was not brought back this year. So that may be a part of this discussion as well. But you know what? I hear you. Let's see what happens going forward. Here's the commissioner with the Go Pack Go call.
The Seattle Seahawks have traded the 18th pick to the Green Bay Packers. With the 18th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Jair Alexander, defensive back, Louisville.
All right, Mel, you knew what you were talking about. There you go, and he's bugging, of course, his quarterback at Louisville, Lamar Jackson. Jair is there walking to the podium. I'm sure giving some encouraging words for Lamar, saying he will hear his name soon, but it is Jair walking right now. He nicknamed that Louisville secondary the Tax Boys because they make them pay, was his motto.
Lewis got excited about Lewis Riddick.
Lewis always gets excited about Lewis Riddick. That happens.
About Derwin James. I love this kid. Jair Alexander is everything you're looking for, and I like the edge that he plays with, Mel, that you referred to. I think to play at that level on an island, you have to have that. Runs a 4.38. Didn't have a great 17 because of some injuries. All I know is in 16, they played against Clemson. He had 2 interceptions against Deshaun Watson. He loves the big stage. Here he is at a punt return against Florida State. If he would have been a player that was coming out in 16, he would probably been considered a top corner. But this year, some injuries, had to battle through that. But anticipates routes, quick, tremendous ball skills. And I love corners that can find the ball, and he does that naturally without having to be taught.
Herbie, injured early one against Purdue. He had the sprained knee, the broken bone in his hand. 2 years ago, he averaged 10-5 a punt return. He had 5 interceptions, and he's a dynamic return man, and he's dynamic, Lewis, when he gets that interception, that ball in his hands. He's Deion-like, and I don't want to just say he's going to be Deion Sanders, but he's Deion-like as far as being electrifying, and I'll tell you what, supremely confident.
Yeah.
This kid, I'll tell you what, he fears nobody, and he is a guy, he's a difference maker in the secondary. If you're going to move up, you got to get somebody who can change a game, and he can do it in terms of at the cornerback spot with turnovers and interceptions. He can do it as a punt return.
Game's about one-on-one matchups, and this guy, you can put on an island, he's going to win.
Yeah, I talked to you, but I can't hear you.
Oh, really?
We're going to wait for me.
Just know that we think you're great, okay? By the way, here's the deal about Jair. Ran a 4.38 so that took away some of those injury concerns. And listen, he's been great. So the Packers, by the way, allowed the 3rd highest completion percentage last season, almost 68%. And that brings us to, how about those Cowboys? The Dallas Cowboys are now on the clock. Mel, they're a team in need of team speed, whether it's on offense or defense.
It couldn't have fallen better for the Dallas Cowboys. If you think wide receiver is a big need area, and it is, you got Calvin Ridley from Alabama, you got DJ Moore from Maryland. There was talk that they liked Cortland Sutton for SMU. I thought that would be a reach. But with Ridley and Moore there, I think you got to help out your young quarterback, Dak Prescott. Rashaan Evans, a linebacker, he's tempting. But I think when you see Ridley and Moore there, take your pick. They're both really good.
Well, I think Calvin Ridley is elite. I don't know if we fully appreciate how good he can be. They've been playing with a quarterback at Alabama that, Brian Dable did a good job with, but they're really about defense, running the football, and trying not to lose the game in the passing game. And all of a sudden, Tua comes into the game in a national championship. Those receivers, their eyes lit up because they got opportunities. Calvin Ridley, I think, is going to be much better pro than he was in college because of the system that he's eventually going to be able to be a part of.
Well, listen, they have issues at wide receiver, the Cowboys. They just let Dez Bryant go. They haven't had a ton of speed. They have an aging tight end. in Jason Witten, who has been around forever and is still, look, you want 5, he'll get you 5. But they need to find a way to either get more dynamic on offense or defense. Mel, they did a great job, the Cowboys, last year with a couple of cornerbacks. Jordan Lewis out of Michigan and Chido Awuzie out of Colorado. Do you feel like it's more pressing to maybe deal with the issue at linebacker with Sean Lee and what we don't know, Jalen Smith, where his ceiling will be? Or do they need to find a dynamic playmaker on offense?
For what they need, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore make the most sense. Obviously, tight end Hayden Hurst, he's tempting. So I'm going wide receiver. I think these 2 receivers will outproduce as rookies. The 3 guys obviously went early last year because they were test guys. These guys are football players. DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, forget the testing for Ridley, that 31 vertical. He's a football player. Moore had a great year and tested phenomenal. He's 20 pounds heavier than Ridley, and he ran 4.4, and he had a 40 vertical. So I don't know, either way with Ridley or Moore, the Cowboys could go wrong.
It's incredible to think that Dez Bryant they let go, somewhat controversial move, and to be able to sit down where they are at 19, and we don't have a receiver taken off the board. It's kind of prophetic that they're in this situation to be able to possibly pick up a wide receiver if they go that route.
Well, the interesting thing is we've got Drew Pearson on the stage behind us being the Cowboys hype man, which is exactly what he was last year when they were in Philadelphia. He's getting the crowd hyped one more time. So you have 2 88s on the stage right now in Drew Pearson and Michael Irvin. And, of course, it was 88 Dez Bryant that was let go. The issue with Dez was he had 2 years left at $16.5 million. There's no way they were going to pay him $16.5. The controversy part, as you alluded to, was the fact that they didn't even want to negotiate with him, which tells you it was probably something else besides just the money that would make them want to say, we're going to part ways with Dez. We don't want to deal about coming back at a lower rate. But look, Terrence Williams is a fine receiver. He's a body catcher.
Yeah.
As we said, Jason Witten, you want 5, he'll get you 5.
Beasley's a slot.
Beasley's a slot. They have, and the kid Ryan Switzer out of North Carolina is like that Spider-Man meme.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley and Ryan Switzer pointing at each other. They're big and powerful. With the offensive line, with the running back, and obviously with Dak. They don't have a lot of team speed. And one way or the other, whether it's on the inside or on the outside of wide receiver, that's what they've got to address.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it wasn't a wide receiver.
I know. The more you're talking,
DJ
I'm like...
DJ Moore or Calvin Ridley. They both have the same grade.
What about DJ Chark out of LSU?
I'm not ahead of those 2. No. He's a body catcher. Yeah. Cortland Sutton didn't dominate some games despite the talent. I'm not taking Sutton or Chark. I'm taking Ridley or Moore. Ridley, I gave the slightest of edges to.
Let's be clear about one thing that's happening here. Every pick has been in very quickly. Jerry knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right now he's saying, this is my place.
Yeah.
This is my house. This is my team. Let's pump the brakes and savor the moment. Understand, that's exactly what's going on here.
Yeah. You know, you talked about Moore and Ridley. Looking at what's already on their roster, because I love Moore, but he's almost built like a tailback, low center of gravity, quick, and he's more of almost an inside quick guy in space. I think Ridley gives you a little bit more length where you can put him out on the outside. I mean, if you're looking at this particular situation, Ridley, to me, makes a little bit more sense.
I would agree with you. I gave a slight edge to Calvin Ridley. And, you know, this is a kid who had a quarterback.
Yeah.
They could get him the ball. His numbers would have been through the roof.
Yeah.
And he still was productive.
Yeah.
And he still did some really good things for Nick Saban. It wasn't like he was a non-factor. And he'll play without the ball. And he's a really good route runner.
Imagine if you had him with Tua and Brian Dable and all those backs for the entire year instead of for a half. He would his numbers would have.
What do we say, Herbie? They can't run routes. Calvin Ridley can.
What about Cortland Sutton, the local kid from SMU?
You've heard that that's the rumor, but I cannot take Cortland Sutton ahead of Ridley or Moore.
But it's not what you can think. Do you think they would do it?
Give you my opinion, right?
Mel, your opinion is gold. I'll take it all night long.
No, I don't know what they'll do. I would take Ridley, then I would take Moore. It'll be my second option. Sutton and Chark will be down the line just a bit.
There has been a lot of heat about Cortland Sutton, and I know that you've liked Cortland Sutton out of SMU.
I sure do.
Yes, there you go. We've reached technical difficulties with Lewis. He's never been this quiet in his life. So understand once we get that taken care of.
I will say this, Trey, and Lewis. Cortland Sutton most resembles physically Dez Bryant.
Yes.
That is true.
He does. All right, so we believe the pick is in. We believe the Cowboys have savored the moment for all it can possibly be worth. Let's find out. Roger Goodell now with the Cowboys pick in Jerry's house Here we go.
The draft is a week-long celebration of football at all levels, and we salute those who play and coach high school football across the country. Joining us for the Cowboys selection are members of 6 high school football teams here in Arlington, Texas. Arlington, Bowie, Juan Seguin, Lamar. With the 19th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker, Boise State.
This is interesting.
Wow. That's a deserved wow.
Leighton Vander Esch out of Boise State. A long way from 8-man football to playing football where football is king, ladies and gentlemen, here in the state of Texas. Riggins, Idaho, population 419. Leighton Vander Esch, they would take a bus from Riggins every year, or every game from Riggins, Idaho, down to Boise State, and anybody that wanted to go could hop on the bus for free to go down to Boise and see Leighton Vander Esch play for Boise State. What an amazing thing. 8-man football. You better be fast in 8-man football because they're missing 3, and you got to cover a lot of ground.
Look at that, baby.
Vander Esch
football
in the middle. I will go wherever the ball is, and I will stick you. Oh, by the way, this man is a 3-syllable athlete, Kirk. Also, quite the basketball player. Steal, slam, send it in, big fella. Tell me more.
There's the blue field in Boise. This guy is 6'4", 256 pounds, nearly a 40-inch vertical, and somehow he's a former walk-on at Boise State. Size, length, athletic ability. I actually called his bowl game against Oregon, and I just love his energy, his instinct. Does a really good job of reading quarterback size and coverage. Think about the linebackers that they have in Jalen Smith and Sean Lee. You put him in there, those 3 linebackers working together gives him great athletic ability, an ability to defend the run and also the pass.
Listen, he's the first Boise State player to go in the first round since they had 2 in 2012. Shea McClellan and the muscle hamster Doug Martin. Leighton Vander Esch, DXL, Susie Culver, take it away.
Well, Cowboys fans certainly sound happy. And Leighton, why don't you share with everybody what it was you told me yesterday about what you hoped would happen at 19?
I've been wanting to play here since day one, Dallas. I love you guys. This place is awesome. We got Super Bowls to win, baby.
Just 5 years ago, you were playing 8-man football. There were only 10 kids in your senior class in high school. How did you get here?
It's been a long process, but it's paid off every single day with the tremendous amount of hard work and the people around me, the support system in Riggins back home where I grew up, Boise State, obviously, the fans, everybody. I'm just so pumped right now. Let's go.
An inspiration to small-town kids everywhere. Detroit's on the clock. Let's go to Adam with some breaking news.
Oh, thanks very much, Susie. We are still waiting for a wide receiver to be picked tonight. But in the interim, we have a wide receiver trade. The Pittsburgh Steelers moments ago traded wide receiver Martavis Bryant to the Oakland Raiders for a 3rd-round pick. Keep in mind that the Raiders had an additional 3rd-round pick that they got back from Arizona in the Josh Rosen trade. The Raiders traded a 3rd-round pick to Pittsburgh for Martavis Bryant. Now think about this. The Raiders' 3 wide receivers this year will include Amari Cooper, Jordy Nelson, and the newly acquired Martavis Bryant as we still wait for a wide receiver, either Calvin Ridley or DJ Moore, to be picked in the 1st round here tonight, Trey.
All right, Adam, thanks very much. First of all, kudos to Leighton Vander Esch. We got Super Bowls to win, baby. The Cowboys' last Super Bowl win was Super Bowl 30. So it's been a while, but way to set the bar high, big man.
Right in there.
Way to walk in there and say, let's get it done. Leighton Vander Esch. Pretty impressive stuff. By the way, this draft has taken a significant turn. as we all about quarterbacks. 4 of the top 10 for the first time. 8 of the last 9 picks have been defensive players.
That's a great point, and it took a while to get it there, but we're finally there. By the way, how about how many times we said former walk-on tonight to a first-round pick?
First overall pick, Baker Mayfield.
Former walk-on. We had one guy say I was a 0-star, Josh Allen. I mean, it's amazing. We get so caught up in our world of college football about what star they are, and there's so many examples of guys that develop and mature at a different time. But, yeah, we're on a good run here, some defensive players.
Van Der Esch had a heck of a year.
Oh, yeah.
But 1 year of production
1 year.
and a workout warrior. And a guy you pass Rashaan Evans over for Leighton Van Der Esch, and you pass on 2 wide receivers. He does fill a need. Sean Lee, durability issues when he's in the game. In the lineup, Dallas's defense is completely different than when he's out. Hitchens is now Anthony Hitchens in Kansas City. It was a need. I threw Evans' name out there. Rashaan Evans, linebacker, Alabama, over Van Der Esch. So they went with the need at linebacker over the need at wide receiver. Yeah. I would have taken Ridley or more. They took Van Der Esch. Hey, one thing you can say is the kid had 1 great year. Can he build on that? We'll see.
Mel, let me ask you this. What does this say, if anything, about what the Cowboys feel about the ceiling is for Jalen Smith, the inside linebacker that could have been one of the best picks in the draft a couple years ago, had the horrible injury, what was it, in the Fiesta Bowl against Ohio State, came back and played pretty well, but is that a sign that they're thinking what we got out of Jalen Smith last year is the best we're going to get?
Well, could be, but think
inside linebackers.
Hitchens is gone and Lee's has a durability concern. That's 2 issues. So I think you look at where they are in terms of versatility. Evans would have brought it, and Van Der Esch does bring that versatility. Yeah, I just think these receivers, I'll tell you who this helps. It helps the Baltimore Ravens. They move back. Ridley and Moore are still there. That's a big need area. Even though they brought in Crabtree and John Brown and Willie Snead, they want a young receiver. Carolina could use a receiver as well. So there's some teams now that are looking at Ridley and Moore thinking, let's keep them on the board. We're pretty happy right now.
Yeah. By the way, we just want to pick up, don't feel bad for Lewis. He's not shy. He hasn't lost his voice. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. We are hopeful to bring him back into the program.
Trey, I had the problem early in the show, remember?
We've all been there. Yeah. We've all been there, and we are ready for Lewis to rejoin us as soon as possible. Okay, here it is. The Lions right now are making their first ever pick in the Matt Patricia era. They are hyped up. The Lions fans are here. Well, will the former Pats defensive coordinator go?
With the 20th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Frank Ragnow, center, Arkansas.
Okay. Mel, this is interesting. Frank has been a late riser in this draft process.
Cincinnati is where you would have thought at 21. 1 pick from here is where everybody thought he could go, to the Bengals, and here he goes once they get to the Lions. He's a hole filler. He's going to help out Matthew Stafford. He's a heck of a football player. Think about this past year, injured October 21st, the high ankle strain, had the minor procedure. Before that, he was dominant, Herbie, center. The Alabama game, look at that game, the job he did there. He had a heck of a season going until that injury she's coming back from. You think about the size, the physicality of Ragnow. He is a guy I think could be like Alex Mack, could be like Nick Mangold, could be a heck of an anchor up front for you.
Brett Bielema, his former coach who actually recruited him and knows him very well, said that, he's had 5 offensive linemen go in the first round. He said he's the best offensive lineman that he's had. He's had some good ones.
Travis Frederick wasn't bad, right?
But he says the best one that he's had since going all the way back to Joe Thomas.
Yep.
That's a strong statement from Bielema.
Well, look, he did well at the combine. 4.98 in the 40, broad jump 9.7, and bench 225 27 times. Stay with us.
Are you ready?
All right, welcome back. Round 1 of the 2018 NFL Draft, AT&T Stadium. We have the Bengals on the clock. Let's go back to the podium and Commissioner Goodell.
With the 21st pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Billy Price, center, Ohio State.
So back-to-back offensive linemen go off the board, and now both the Browns and the Bengals have tapped into home state talent from Ohio State University, Lewis.
Yeah, I'm back. I can talk again. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to say a lot here. Look, Billy Price is a guy who can play center and guard, and there's been a mass exodus in Cincinnati in recent years of offensive linemen. Look, they lose Andrew Whitworth, Kevin Zeitler, and consequently, what were they last year? They're 31st in the league in rushing offense. So look, this is a need pick. It may be a little bit of a reach as far as Billy Price going here, but I'll tell you what, right now, Cincinnati needs to rebuild their football team from front to back on the offensive line, because there's nothing that they can do in their division unless they can really fortify this offensive line. Billy Price fills a need. He's a three-position player. It's a good pick for them.
When was the last time you saw two centers back-to-back selected in the first round?
You never know. And by the way, one of just 6 Buckeyes offensive linemen to be named unanimous All-American selection. Lamar, keep your energy up. Good things are coming, Lamar. Hey, trust us. Good things are coming. Stay with us. Well, it was one of the great stories in college football this past season. The Steadfan Children's Hospital put in an observation deck overlooking where the Hawkeyes played, and every game the kids were up there, and the entire fan base of the Iowa Hawkeyes would wave up to the kids in there. And we got a couple of Iowa Hawkeyes still waiting to hear their names being called. Will it be cornerback Josh Jackson? Still waiting, a unanimous All-American with 8 interceptions, led all of FBS. We also have the potential of another interior lineman getting ready. Is he wearing pajamas at this point? James Daniels, the Iowa center. But Kirk, you've been a part of that experience at Iowa. It was an amazing thing this year.
Really, really incredible to hear about the story, to read about it. Tom Rinaldi did a great job with a feature on it. But to actually go to a game and be a part of that at the end of the first quarter, when all the kids look down from the hospital, which just is right above their stadium, and everybody in that stadium turns and waves up to them. Very special. And Todd, I know Todd had an opportunity to do that as well, and just cool, really cool thing.
It was a great story, and we'll see when will pay off for those Iowa Hawkeyes waiting to hear their names being called. So the Tennessee Titans are now on the clock, the first pick of the Mike Vrabel era. Mike, of course, an unbelievable linebacker in his playing days. Where will they go?
With the 22nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Rashaan Evans, linebacker, Alabama.
Well, no surprise that an Alabama linebacker is taken in the first couple of rounds. This is the 8th Nick Saban linebacker taken in the first or second round, and Rashaan Evans goes there from Auburn, Alabama, to play at Alabama. His father went to Auburn to think he was going to be a running back, and then some guy named Bo Jackson showed up. It happens. Yep. Rashaan Evans, though, pretty pumped that he is now going to play for Mike Vrabel in Tennessee.
John Robinson, the general manager, Mike Vrabel, had to be ecstatic to be able to put, I know they had to move up, but still to be in a position to get a player of this magnitude to play linebacker for them. It's a big need for the Titans. This guy's explosive. You're talking about an athletic guy who, he grew up, Nick Saban was talking to us earlier tonight, grew up as a defensive end with his hand in the ground and played as a guy who rushed the quarterback. And early in his career at Alabama, this is what he did. They call these the rapid rabbit package, when they bring guys in like a Tim Williams, Rashaan Evans early in his career to rush the quarterback. Then they started to move him back to that middle linebacker spot. He's going to become more and more instinctive. You can see how explosive he is when he rushes the quarterback. But you can put him, in my opinion, on third down. You move him down and let him stay on the field. He can not only can he rush the quarterback, he can cover, brings a lot of versatility, a lot to like here, not to mention he brings a real attitude and a guy you can put in the middle of your defense and really build around.
And Lewis, late in the year, he was injured early on. Florida State game got a little banged up. He struggled a little bit, but late in the year, LSU game, Mississippi State game, the 2 playoff games, all over the field, blitzes inside, outside. I thought he could have been a Cowboy pick. Here he is for the Titans, who needed to get a young, versatile linebacker who can get after the quarterback, Lou.
There's no question that versatility is the name of the game when you're talking about this guy. And again, think about the head coach. think about the fact that it's Mike Vrabel. Think about where he came from. He came from Bill Belichick's system. They value versatility. You play one position, you get knocked down. You play multiple positions, it's perfect. Look, they have 2 outside linebackers that are up for free agency in a year. They're thinking a little bit of ahead. They lost Avery Williamson, one of their best inside linebackers. He can play there. You already talked about the fact he can rush the passer and put his hand down, started as a defensive end. It's perfect for a multiple 3-4 scheme. It's perfect. This is a perfect.
Dan Pease leaves, he retires from Baltimore. Right. Vrabel talks him into coming back, so it fits the scheme you're talking about, and the versatility is perfect.
By the way, the first linebacker taken by the Titans since Keith Bullock was taken in the first round in 2003, or rather 2000, excuse me. Did you mention the Patriots?
I think so.
Versatility?
Yeah.
Guess who's on the clock right now? The New England Patriots.
Is that right?
Todd McShay, do me a favor. Paint us a picture.
Let me paint one for you, Trey. Lamar Jackson, the 5th quarterback of the 5 we thought were going to come off the board in the first round. Patriots sent Josh McDaniels down twice to work him out. We all know the Tom Brady story, so this is an interesting spot at 23. Baltimore, Ozzie Smith, the general manager in his last GM job of being the captain of the Baltimore Ravens war room. He's been a thief in terms of draft picks his entire career. He's moved back twice already, get a lot of collateral. Could they be sitting there getting ready to take Lamar at 25? Beyond that, Pittsburgh Steelers have been rumored to have some interest. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Patriots are here again, and I know the Philadelphia Eagles, who don't have a lot of picks beyond this first round, would love to move back in the second round and get some additional picks, Trey.
Well, they certainly would, Todd, but they've basically got their roster set with all the moves they made this offseason. As for the Patriots, it's been a weird one. Brady is back. Gronk is coming back. These people are not. Malcolm Butler, Nate Solder, Cameron Fleming, Danny Amendola, Brandon Cooks, Dion Lewis, and Martellus Bennett. Those are the departures. Jason McCourty comes over. Adrian Claiborne comes over from Atlanta. They pick up Jeremy Hill from the Bengals. Cordero Patterson, former #1 pick by the Minnesota Vikings a few years ago, is an interesting one. And then they get Danny Shelton, the defensive tackle. But it has been an unusual offseason, Mel, for the New England Patriots. And they have 2 picks now that they can play with here. And there are a lot of ways they can go.
There's a lot of ways. I think the offensive line, obviously, that tackle spot. Think about linebacker. Think about the secondary. They have 2 1s and 2 2s, Herbie and Lou. They haven't utilized the draft to really enhance their personnel base. They got to get more homegrown talent, and they have a chance this year to do it. They don't have to give up anything. Lamar Jackson's sitting there for them. Do they go that route? But offensive line, linebacker, secondary, they have some key need areas that they need these draft choices to fill.
I think to have continuity and maintain excellence, this is like a transition period for them. They've had these guys kind of around, and I know they've lost some players over the years, and they bring players in. This thing's like a real opportunity with this draft to almost, you don't want to say start over, but to be able to kind of jumpstart and bring some enthusiasm, some youth into this franchise.
Yeah, and bring some team speed. And I think that's what you're talking about. With youth comes speed, and they need speed on the defensive side of the ball. They need speed at linebacker. They need speed at corner. They need some more corners as well, and you're right. It's not necessarily. It's not a rebuilding.
Right.
It's nothing like that in New England.
They don't.
But
do
you're right.
that.
It is a transition period for them because some of the guys who have been the pillars of this organization, in this championship run, this long championship run, are getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah.
So you need to have all these guys and not just have picks, but have picks that hit. And you know, if there's one thing you can criticize Bill for, and you can't criticize him for much. Look, he kills it in free agency. But it's the homegrown talent that you're talking about.
That's the
Hit
issue.
on those guys, have them come in and stick around, and usher in the next era of championship
Yeah,
football.
there's a Josh Jackson, a long, athletic corner who had production, comes out of Iowa. Kirk Ferentz, Bill Belichick, there's a connection there. Lamar Jackson's obviously intriguing. So they have some pretty good options here. I thought they used the 2 1s and used the 2 2s to get that fortification of young talent that they haven't had.
Normally what they do is they trade back and stockpile picks. But to your point, how much intriguing do you think it is with Bill, who had Jimmy Garoppolo as the Tom Brady successor, all set up and ready to roll? He's not there. He still hasn't lost the game as a starting quarterback. Hashtag small sample. But still, he hasn't lost the game yet. To have the idea of Lamar Jackson coming in there, or, look, they lost 2 of their 3 starting offensive tackles. And I know what you're saying, you can only start 2. They really rotated 3. They lost 2 of those, and Tom Brady, he's going to slow down eventually. He's going to be 41 years old in August. Maybe they try and get some beef on that offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, there are a number of different ways, and I'll tell you what, to speak to the quarterback situation, it's got to be tremendously frustrating to watch Jimmy Garoppolo right now, when you know you picked him,
you had him,
you developed him, when he got a chance to play, you're sitting there going, we nailed that. And then trade him away and watch him get the biggest contract in the NFL at the time for quarterbacks and go, now we're starting over again?
Well,
and Tom is getting older.
It's
older
interesting.
and older.
The 23rd pick has been pretty good to the Patriots over the years. 1995, Ty Law. Bruce Armstrong, the offensive lineman in 1987. Do they strike magic again here with the 23rd overall pick? It's been an interesting offseason for Bill Belichick and company. I did like the Jeremy Hill move, bringing him over from Cincinnati, basically offsetting the Dion Lewis situation.
Sure.
Not as fast, but a versatile running back. So where will Bill Belichick go with the 23rd overall pick in the first round? One of 2 picks that the Patriots still have, also holding on to the 31st overall pick. Here's the commissioner. We're about to find out as we go behind Bill.
With the 23rd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Isaiah Wynn, tackle, Georgia.
They went with the beef, and they went with a versatile guy, Lewis, and a guy who was tough, played through the end of the season with a torn labrum in his shoulder.
Look, and again, look, we use that word versatility with the Patriots. When you're a two-position, multiple-position player, you have greater value to them. This is a guy who can start at left tackle in the NFL. I know many people want to project him to an offensive guard. Personally, I think his offensive tackle film from this year is better than his offensive guard film from 2016. When we were down at the Senior Bowl, he was an absolute stud. He is the kind of guy who can come off the line of scrimmage and remove people off the line of scrimmage and keep and really create some open lanes. And then his pass protection was, I thought, was spectacular. Again, the kind of guy who is going to be highly valued by this football team. And when you get to work with Dante Scarnecchia, you're getting to work with a legend, a guy who's going to extract every little bit of talent that you have in you. He will get it from you. Perfect pick.
And again, tore his labrum November 18th, put off surgery, said, yeah, it hurt. It kind of hard to block with it just always getting jammed back in there. But, you know, it's good. It's good to be Isaiah Wynn. Tom Brady is probably saying, I like this pick. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the 2018 NFL Draft, presented by Courtyard.
Here on the biggest stage, we saw the future arrive.
Welcome, football fans, to the 2018 NFL Draft. The Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield. The New York Jets select Sam Darnold, quarterback, USC. The Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming. The Arizona Cardinals select Josh Rosen.
Headed to the home stretch of the first round, first night of the three-day draft experience on ESPN. We've had a run on the big uglies. 3 of the last 4 picks have been offensive linemen. People, remember, offensive line play matters. Everything happens because the offensive line does their job. Here's what we've done. 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 10. First time in the history of the draft. No wide receiver taken in the top 20. First time since 2010. And the Raiders have picked up a wide receiver, Martavis Bryant, one of the many Clemson wide receivers from the Steelers going to the Raiders and John Gruden. The Carolina Panthers are on the clock. And again, that stat, keep in mind, we have not had a wide receiver taken in a long time. The Panthers kind of took a wide receiver last year in running back Christian McCaffrey. Will they go full wide receiver right now? The pick is in. Roger Goodell will soon be walking across that stage and get his steps. I wonder if he tracks his Fitbit as he goes through all the steps going back and forth on the podium. He'd get in quite a workout. Let's find out where Carolina goes.
With the 24th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select DJ Moore, wide receiver, Maryland.
We're going to allow Mel a moment just to soak in the glory. And as you see DJ Moore soaking in the glory, the Big Ten receiver of the year, Mel, crab cakes in football. That's what Maryland Well, it does.
Yes, it
and
does.
that's what DJ Moore did,
they
the first wide receiver off the board.
Good football player. I had a chance to watch him pretty much every game he played. 4 different quarterbacks. It didn't matter. DJ Moore, productive, 6 feet even, 210 pounds, runs 4.42, 39.5 vertical, 11 broad jump. Those are unbelievable numbers, freakish numbers. And you say, is he a workout warrior? No, he's a productive player. Little body catcher too much at times, but he has a catch radius. He can extend those hands. He has length. He can track the ball over his shoulder very effectively. Played in bad weather conditions and still was able to be very consistent catching the football. And after the catch, Herbie not only has speed, he's got tackle breaking ability. He's a strong, tough runner. And as an added bonus, he's got return skills.
Yeah, almost like a running back when he gets the football in his hands. Think how many quarterbacks has he played with over the last couple of years? think about this year. 4. I know. That's what I'm saying. And for him to still be the Big Ten wide receiver of the year, strong, elite speed, great routes, instinctive. He can read coverage well on movement. So just a great pick, and I'm shocked that these receivers have slid all the way down. We've only had first receiver the whole first round.
I think the league's fearful of rookie receivers in the first and second round. We had that stat 57 in the first 2 rounds the last 7 years. Only 4 to 5 true number ones. So, you know, you're going for the veteran proven entities more so than the first rounders. I still think it's an overreaction. Ridley and DJ Moore are really good players. And at this point in the draft, Lewis, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, look, this was obviously a need pick, and they took the best player available at the position that they needed badly. Think about this. Devin Funchess has 80 receptions last year. No other wide receiver had more than 17 catches. Yeah. How does that happen on an NFL roster? And look, with DJ Moore, you're talking about an outside lane player, too. You're not talking about a niche slot player. You're talking about a guy who can play X, the split end. He plays Z, the flanker, and his run after the catch, he does. He turns into a running back quickly. Where when he's running the football, you're going, is that a back? Right. Or is that actually a wide receiver?
210 pounds.
Exactly.
Like a low center of gravity.
And you know what? They tried to help themselves in free agency. They got Torrey Smith. They got Jarius Wright. So they're actually trying to infuse some speed into a.
Got a Maryland Terrapin with another Maryland Terrapin there to help him out transition to the pro game.
That's got to be your next new team now. You got Torrey Smith and you got DJ Moore playing for the Carolina Panthers. By the way, DJ Moore, be confident in yourself. The advisory board said, hey, you should stay in for your senior year.
Hey, you've got an Alabama receiver from the Baltimore Ravens.
He said, I'm good. Yeah. And he's the first wide receiver off the board.
I'm good.
Good for you, DJ Moore. You do you. First one off the board. We are back in 30 seconds after a quick word from Courtyard.
Final draft.
Well, we are closing in on pick number 25 of the first round here. The Baltimore Ravens. GM Ozzie Smith, this will be his last year being the leader of the draft room for the Baltimore Ravens. And what a job the Hall of Famer has done over his years, cementing himself as a legacy, not only as a player, but also as a drafter. His first 2 picks, Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis in 1996. Those worked out well, both first ballot Hall of Famers. Oh yeah, Ed Reed came along in 2002, one of the best interceptors of all time. T. Sizzle in 2003, over 100+ sacks and still going strong. Yeah, Kyle Bowler went in that year too, but you know what? For every Kyle Bowler, you had yourself a Joe Flacco, who ran one of the best postseason runs to the 2nd Super Bowl championship in team history. Let's not forget Jamal Lewis's, Haloti Ngata's, Peter Boulware, Marshall Yanda, C.J. Mosley. Ozzie Newsome had the golden touch, and now he sits with the 25th pick in the first round draft, Mel. The last first-round pick of his incredible drafting career.
Wouldn't it be fitting if it's an Alabama Crimson Tide player?
Newsome.
I mean, Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, sitting here. You got Hayden Hurst, an excellent tight end at South Carolina. That's a neat area as well. More weapons for Joe Flacco. You think about Willie Snead coming over, John Brown coming over, Michael Crabtree. You add a Calvin Ridley or a Hayden Hurst at tight end. Now you're really fortifying your passing game weapons. And these two guys, they trade down twice. You're still getting a look at you're looking at Ridley or Hayden Hurst, and you haven't lost anything. Lewis, and Herbie, that's a pretty good move for Ozzie Newsome and Eric DeCosta.
When you think about Ozzie's history, I mean, he's a legendary GM, a guy who absolutely built some tremendous football teams. He's never drafted a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Some of his biggest misses have come at trying to fortify that position.
The league's missed a lot at wide receiver, Lewis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But look, in no way am I disparaging Ozzie Newsome. I mean, look, he has taught us all a lot about how to build football teams. But you're right. A guy like Calvin Ridley and Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst is one of my favorite players in this draft. I hope he goes off the board here soon over these next couple of picks, because he's exactly what Joe could use. Joe could use someone in the middle of the field to control the middle of the field, that he could just get the ball out, get the ball out, get the ball out. Because they've tried with the veteran to go to veteran route as far as fortifying the outside. They need somebody at that tight end position.
Well, there's a couple of good tight ends available. You mentioned Hayden Hurst, Dallas Goedert, still out there. Could be a potential pick.
Mike Gesicki from Penn State.
Mike Gesicki, who went from a guy with huge drop problems his first couple of years to walk out of Penn State as the leading tight end in terms of catches, receiving yards for tight ends, and touchdowns for tight ends. And by the way, let's be clear, Mike Gesicki put on a show at the Combine. He made himself some money at the Combine in Indianapolis. You mentioned fitting for an Alabama player to be Ozzie Newsome's last pick. Maybe it would be more fitting that a tight end would be Ozzie Newsome's
Either way.
final pick for the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
All those great years, not only at Alabama, but as a tight end, Ozzie Newsome was for the Cleveland Browns in his Hall of Fame playing career. Either way, this is exactly what is going to be the final pick of Ozzie Smith's illustrious first-round career. We showed you those amazing ones, including the first two in both Hall of Famers in Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis. And now this is Ozzie Newsome one last time stepping up to the podium. Baltimore Ravens have been moving around in this first round. Let's see who they finally settled on as the Baltimore Ravens. The pick is in. Will this pick play like a Raven? Will he continue the things that Ozzie Newsome has done so well in his unbelievable career? Boy, Rodgers pulling a Jerry Jones at this point. There he is, finally walking across the stage, and let's find out where the Ravens and Ozzie Newsome go.
With the 25th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Hayden Hurst, tight end, South Carolina.
Oh, the flowing locks of Hayden Hurst, otherwise known as Garnet Thor, the Big Red Machine. A kid who was not going to be here tonight because he originally was drafted to play baseball, thought he was going to go in the first 2 rounds, instead wound up going in the 17th round to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then developed Steve Blass disease. Could not find the home plate. In just one game in 2013, had an ERA in 1/3 of an inning with 27, 5 walks, 2 wild pitches. But you know what? He did get $400,000 from that signing bonus. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Asgardian God of Thunder, the Garnet Thor, Hayden Hurst out of South Carolina, is the final pick of Ozzie Newsome's career. Again, he made $400,000 as a 17th round pick pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That did not work out well. He decided to give college football one more try. Let's just say that maybe the thing was his hair. His strength was his hair. He grew it back, Mel and Lewis, and he played great.
One of my favorite players in this draft because of his story that you just laid out so eloquently, Trey, and because of his play on the football field, because he's another guy who is a multiple player. He can play the Y, the typical tight end, the U, a move guy. He can flex and run routes from the core, from the 2 or 3 position, and you can split him out wide as an X against a linebacker, and he'll give him fits all day long. The guy has tremendous hands, tremendous catch radius. He's tough as heck after the catch, and here's the thing he'll do. He'll block, Herbie.
Yeah,
He'll
he will.
block in the run game and get after 6 technique defensive ends who line up on his nose, and he will get after.
He can win on the edge, and I think he's the most complete tight end, I think, in the draft. I love what you said. He's so physical with the ball after the catch. I mean, he's not only outrunning people, he's trying to dial up a safety to run over top of him. And it's rare to see a baseball background have that kind of physicality, versatile, can get into the seam in the middle of that defense. You guys talk about Flacco needing a guy over the middle. He can not only settle down in the front of the zone, but he can also get between safeties and get vertical.
He's a great kid, too. I had a chance to talk to him a couple weeks ago, and he is
Awesome
a
dude.
really good kid. He really wants to be Heath Miller.
Yeah.
And he prides himself on blocking. He says there's not many inline blockers now, and he really feels like he can do that and help your offense in terms of running the football. You know, Hayden Hurst will come in and play as a rookie, as a 25-year-old, mature football player who really has his, like I say, his sights set. He mentioned Jason Witten.
Right.
So he really has followed the game, and he wants to be a complete NFL tight end.
Well, he's a 3-down tight end. That's what he is more than anything else.
And there were people who were trying to knock him for the fact that he'll be 25 when the season starts. But if you look at some of the great productive tight ends in this league right now, they're playing well into their 30s. And that's something that many personnel departments took note of. Like, hey, look, we don't have to worry about that. There are tight ends who are playing well into their 30s because it's a position that just kind of lends to that. So, hey, my hat's off to this kid. I think his story is tremendous. He's going to the perfect place, and you're right.
Yeah.
Tight end for tight end.
How about Ozzie Newsome picking a tight end in his last first-round pick? And what's interesting, Joe Flacco actually completed a league-high 80% or higher, 80.5% of passes to tight ends, but for 6.3 yards per attempt. So they were getting completions, but they weren't getting any
Those
separation.
yards per attempt, they'll go up. They'll go up because Herden
Well, he's a matchup problem because the linebacker on him, he's going to outrun him. He's a 4'6" guy. You put a safety on him, he's going to body him. So he's going to be a big matchup problem for a lot of people in the AFC North.
All right, we're getting into the cream of the crop right now. Teams that were in the postseason made deep postseason runs last year, including the Atlanta Falcons. It has been a pattern with Dan Quinn, the head coach, trying to rebuild that Seattle defense in Atlanta, and he has done a great job doing that with speedy linebackers, or Keanu O'Neal playing the Cam Chancellor role.
Taven Bryan still on the board.
The Wyoming Wild Man. Let's see where the Atlanta Falcons go. The offense wasn't quite the same last year once Kyle Shanahan left. Maybe they'll try and upgrade on the offensive side of the ball. The pick is in. Rodgers walking to the podium. Let's find out together, shall we?
With the 26th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, Alabama.
Another Alabama getaway, right? Wide receiver, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. We've been down this road before in Atlanta, and it's worked out pretty well, Kirk.
Well, it's the 4th player from Alabama here in the first round. By the way, 6th player that played in that national championship game with Alabama and Georgia going head-to-head. You can see the emotions there. He's fired up and excited. And Calvin Ridley, to me, I think he's the best receiver in this draft. Has size, has length. 4'4" guy that can get him separation. I think he can win it. He didn't get jammed a lot, but I think in the NFL game, he'll have enough ability to be able to work around people because he's so quick and able to separate. Serious speed, natural hands. Doesn't use his body at all. And he is, much like Moore, very dangerous after the catch. Not as physical as Moore with natural speed to be able to just outrun people, but not just a guy that can go downfield. He'll catch the ball underneath, shake people, and be able to get some serious yards downfield. And like I said, I think he's going to have a better pro career than he did in college because of the way Alabama won with defense and running the football and field position. And now I think he's going to be in a position where he can really open it up, especially in Atlanta with the weapons they have around
An NFL-ready receiver who will block, and he will be a guy who will help out Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Third wide receiver taken in the first round out of Alabama since 2011. Obviously, Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, and now Calvin Ridley. Matt Ryan's one happy dude right now. Ridley, Julio, we can make some things happen, ladies and gentlemen, as Calvin Ridley is going to play alongside another Bama wide receiver. Alabama get away twice for the Atlanta Falcons. They like it there as well. Well, aerial coverage provided tonight by Goodyear. Be rain ready, be snow ready. Please, no more snow. Be all kinds of weather ready. Goodyear, more driven. We're driving through the final 6 picks of the first round, and Mel, give me your best available.
Well, there's Lamar Jackson, quarterback out of Louisville, still there, late first round. Taven Bryan, explosive defensive tackle, wish he was more productive. And then you have the corner run. When's it going to happen with Josh Jackson at long, athletic, productive corner? Mike Hughes out of Central Florida also has great return skills. Then the next running back group after Saquon Barkley was Darius Geis, LSU, Sony Michel, Georgia, and Harold Landry's on the list, but the best pass rusher is still on the board right now is Landry from Boston College. Had a great year 2 seasons ago. Kirby, a little banged up this year. Production went down. Harold Landry can bend the edge and get off that corner and get after the quarterback.
And the NFL games about trying to get matchups, and on defense, it's matching up one-on-one and getting pressure on the quarterback. Harold Landry, I don't care if he's a one-trick pony. You got to put him in as a pass rusher and somebody's got to select him early.
That's the interesting thing, because this was a draft that was supposed to be not deep on defensive ends or pass rushers, and he's been one of the best over the last 2 years, albeit not as good this year as the year before, but one of the ones, as you said, that can get there, and yet he's still on the board.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, he is a good speed rusher, but I'll tell you what, I've had some people tell me that they kind of think he's a little bit of a one-trick pony, that he doesn't really want to play the run, doesn't rush with very much power. So he's going to go. It's just a matter of, does it represent the right kind of value right here? I'll tell you what, though, for Seattle, there's a really intriguing guy who's on the board here for me right now, offensive guard Will Hernandez from UTEP.
Yes.
That would be perfect. That'd be the kind of, look, Pete Carroll sat at the combine and told us, we kind of want to get back to who we are.
That kid can run block.
Look,
boy.
we used to pound people into, and just make them want to quit when Marshawn was at his height and they were winning Super Bowls. That'd be the perfect kind of pick right here. And they could plug him right in there, and he would start immediately for this football team.
And let's be clear, they need offensive line help, okay? Here was the Seattle playbook. Russell, take the ball, run for your life, and do something. That was the play last year. Look, I get it that they had the injury early. Fant went down, right?
Yep. George Fant
went down early. But the offensive line play has been atrocious, and Seattle's pick is in. Let's see if they address that. Or remember, they're sort of rebooting this entire Legion of Boom here.
The entire organization.
Richard Sherman is gone. We don't know if Cam Chancellor's going to play. Michael Bennett is gone. There's speculation that Earl Thomas might be moving on. So they are redoing the defensive side of the football as well. But you have to believe, if there's a, for lack of a better term, that Dave Gettleman, the GM of the Giants, likes to use, if there's a hog molly up there that they can get, like Will Hernandez, who showed out at the combine, that would help them get a little more balance. Remember, Russell Wilson had all but one offensive touchdown for the Seattle Seahawks. They came off his legs or his arms. All but one came out of Russell Wilson. They've got to find another way. Oh, look at Russ. Look at Roger giving low fives all the way to the podium.
With the 27th pick in the 2018 draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Rashad Penny, running back, San Diego State.
That's the crowd just went.
That's a wow.
Yeah.
Look, Rashad Penny finally got his turn playing behind Donnell Pumphrey, but is this? Well, let's just talk about Rashad Penny for a minute here.
Hey, I'll put it this way. This guy had a lot of yardage.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of yardage out there at San Diego State. But for a guy his size, look, with some of the other running backs that are on the board right now, look, I know there's some highlights right here of him running over some people. Look, I'll tell you this. There's some people on the board who I thought would have went off much sooner than him at the running back position. This fits, though, what Pete said, though.
Well, I was just going to say, you go back to wanting to pound people.
That's right. He wants
220-pound back.
He wants a bell cow. He wants somebody who he can leave in the football game and they can depend on to get the tough yards, and the kind of guy who theoretically gets stronger as the game goes on, as defense gets tired of him. But I don't know if this
But over Sony Michel?
Hey, over Nick Chubb.
Sony Michel.
Over Nick
kind of
Chubb.
back.
So we'll see.
Geis would have been the only, if you could talk about Geis being physical. Sonny Michel is more of an elusive guy, like almost
He's shown out in the playoffs.
I know, but he's more of an Alvin Kamara guy you can find some one-on-one matchups with. Penny's more of a gap guy, run downhill and run over top of people.
But if you want that guy, I would have taken Nick Chubb. We'll see.
Marshall Faulk finally has company. Penny is the second San Diego State running back taken in the first round in the common draft era. Okay.
Welcome back to the 2018 NFL Draft, presented by Courtyard.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock, and of course, it's been a somewhat inspiring journey from that injury in the Bengals game Monday night for Ryan Shazier, the linebacker who made so many plays for them, working his way back. He will not play in 2018, but says he still wants to play. Showed up at the Ohio State spring game. He's been full of smiles during this entire recovery. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are now on the clock. They've had a run of defensive players, guys, over the last few years. Where do we think Pittsburgh may go with their first-round pick?
Well, I think they need secondary help. They need inside linebacker help. The defense was really the problem. So we'll see.
The defense has been the problem. Let's see where they go right now. Here's the commissioner.
We have a very special moment to make the announcement of the Pittsburgh Steelers selection. We are honored to have with us an extraordinary man who continues to amaze us with his unyielding determination and his unwavering spirit. We are so proud of him, and he inspires us all. Please welcome, joined by his fiancée Michelle, Ryan Shazier.
With the 28th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Terrell Edmunds.
Well, there's a lot to get to there. First of all, great news for Terrell Edmunds, but for anybody that saw that hit in the Monday night game against the Bengals, to see Ryan Shazier walk across that stage and make that pick, that was awesome. Great for you, Ryan. We wish you continued success on your recovery. That was fantastic. But the brothers Edmunds now have both been selected in the first round. This is just a feel-good story all the way around.
He played at Ohio State, and I played at Ohio State myself, and we've gotten to know him pretty well over the years. And to be able to see him walk like that and make that pick, you're right, that's very touching. And I know a lot of people who follow the NFL, not just the Steelers, have followed his story and are pulling for him. So that is great news to see him up and walking. The pick, I was going to ask, is have we ever had brothers first round together?
I'm not sure about that. We're working on
That's
that.
a pretty good effort. That's a pretty good effort. Dad played in the NFL for a long time.
Farrell Edmunds, his father was first
round. And now you got two. He's got two sons in the first round in the same year.
As we say in TV, we're efforting to find that information. But look, this is. I got a lot going on right now. When we saw Ryan Shazier lie on the floor like that at Cincinnati, to see him do that so quickly is just amazing, and we wish him all the success going forward. But again, this is Terrell Edmunds' moment. As we see Ryan go off that stage, he swore to everybody that he would walk again, and he has done that. He says he's going to play again. And if that's what he wants, then God bless him, and we wish nothing but the best, and we'll wait for that. It won't be in 2018, but the Steelers will, Lewis, expect to see Terrell Edmunds play in 2018. What should we expect?
Well, what you're looking at is a big physical defensive back. He's 6 foot, 217 pounds, ran 4.47, and has a 41.5-inch vertical. So look, the guy is absolutely put together. Now, he is best when he is coming downhill, and he can lay the lumber on some people, and Pittsburgh needed that. Now, when he is in the back end, he does have some range. He has some ability to play man-to-man coverage. Virginia Tech plays a very unique type of defense to where it's hard to really project what the safeties are doing. In this game relative to what they're going to be asked to do in an NFL scheme. But that kind of stuff right there, where you see him running the alley and closing quickly on ball carriers and putting big shots on them, that kind of physicality in the middle of the field is something that Pittsburgh missed. And he's going to need, though, to prove that in the back end, as far as being a coverage player, he's the kind of guy who can keep from having the ball thrown over his head and help that pass defense.
I had such admiration for the Steelers organization over the last 15 or 20 years with the consistency of the secondary play. Coaches have come and gone, but that certain personality, they're able to locate guys that have a way of playing with a chip on their shoulder. Edmonds will be that kind of guy. New defensive back coach is Tom Bradley. He's a former Penn State defensive coordinator. He will love to work with him. But I think when you look at him in that Virginia Tech scheme, Bud Foster believes in a lot of 8-man front, a lot of blitzing, a lot of those safeties. With his size, he's able to play man-to-man. So the versatility we keep talking about of these defensive guys, he provides that. He can be a thumper, but he can also go over a slot and play some man-to-man.
Great workout numbers. He had 10 tackles against Clemson. You look about the West Virginia game, the vertical passing game, he had a little bit of trouble, but he's a talented kid. He's a kid you got a lot to work with physically and athletically. And then from a mindset standpoint, the bloodlines, as you mentioned, Trey, he's going to be a work in progress. They coach him up. The talent's there.
Kirk, you ask and you receive. First time ever we've had two brothers taken in the first round of the draft.
That's awesome.
Courtesy of DXL, Susie Culber standing by with a brother that made history just now.
First time ever, two brothers have been taken in the first round. What do you think of that?
It's a blessing for my family. It's a blessing for my city. It's a blessing for my school. I can't speak highly enough of my school or my city, and I'm thankful for everybody that's been supporting us on the way.
We talked about this great football family, the Edmonds family, and you're here with your brother Tremaine, who's taken earlier in the first round. What did you expect from tonight?
I expected the best for Tremaine. Just having my dad here for support, having my older brother here for support, it's amazing. Like I said, it's a blessing. I'm feeling with so much excitement right now. I can barely speak, but it's definitely a blessing.
Well, Buffalo doesn't play Pittsburgh this season, but we can't wait to see it happen in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Trey.
All right, Susie, thanks very much. Look, we've had history up and down this draft. In the top of the draft, 4 quarterbacks in the first 10 for the first time ever, and now brothers, Terrell and Tremaine Edwards, going in the first round. History at the back end of the draft. We told you this was going to be a special night, and it is certainly delivered. So now we go to the team that knocked out the Pittsburgh Steelers out of the playoffs last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they came oh so achingly close to taking down the Patriots in the AFC Championship game in Foxborough before finally succumbing in the second half. The Jaguars have made their selection. The pick is in, and now we're about to find out where Jacksonville is going. They've done so much with that defense. Will they continue to bolster on offense like they did with Leonard Fournette 4th overall last year? Let's find out together.
With the 29th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Taven Bryan, defensive tackle, Florida.
Well, be who you are, baby. GM David Caldwell likes to build on that defensive line, and the Wyoming Wild Man, whose father was a Navy SEAL, is now the latest member of that unbelievable front seven for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They keep loading up, and Lewis, you mentioned it, his get-off is as good as anybody's.
Look, they had the most expensive defensive line in the NFL already, and then Rich just got richer with this guy. When you talk about get-off, this guy will reset the line of scrimmage with a flat back and great hip roll. I know those are football terms, but trust me, when you watch him play, you'll know what I'm talking about. His back is flat, it's parallel to the line of scrimmage, and he's knocking offensive linemen in the backfield and just disrupting everything. And I'll tell you this, just because he doesn't have stats in terms of tackle and sack numbers does not mean he's not productive, because disruption is a form of production when you're talking about defensive line play. And just watch him here, he does it all the time. It's get up the field, create havoc, find the football, run to the football. That's one of the things he can improve on. He can improve on the consistency of him chasing down plays after he just whips people at the line of scrimmage. But there's no question, he's going to an organization right now that is developing a reputation as far as how they play defense, and they're going to value players like this. And he is right now, he's going to have to continue to raise his game, because they won't accept nothing less down there in Jackson.
I think it's a great opportunity for him to go where there's a lot of talent around him. I'll just be very honest. If you watch him physically, you think he's a perennial Pro Bowler. I mean, he has, like you're saying, the get off, lean, athletic, explosive, but the production for me concerns me because there'd be Florida games I would go to and he would disappear.
Sure.
And you wonder why is he not making plays when he's so beautiful and such a great athlete? And to me, it's almost like there's a lack of instincts or awareness. And is that something you can teach? You know,
I agree.
Is that something
locating the football?
Yeah.
And I think you look at the Texas A&M game, Herbie and Lewis. He watched that game, he's a top 10 pick.
That's right.
7 tackles, a couple sacks, and you look at him, he's splitting double teams, rip move, lateral pursuit. But then there's other games he's too quiet for the talent. He's got J.J. Watt talent.
To that point, his coaches said he's freaking out if he can put it all together.
Look out.
That's a question mark. All right, it is time for the Minnesota Vikings on the clock, and it's time for a GMC professional grade moment. And of course, the Minnesota Miracle. They were down to the New Orleans Saints. Last play of the game. Some people call it the Hail Millie to the 90-plus-year-old Millie, who was in this stadium for the first time for a playoff game. Marcus Williams goes low. The first ever walk-off touchdown in playoff history in the NFL. Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs. And now Minnesota, they invested heavy in their quarterback, Kirk Cousins, in the offseason. Where will they go in the draft? Will it be the offensive line, which clearly struggled, Lewis, a little bit against the pressure that the Philadelphia Eagles brought in the NFC Championship game?
Hey, Will Hernandez, he's still sitting there. This is the kind of guy that makes sense here. Look, and I'll tell you what, even on the defensive side of the football, could they use another corner? There's still really good corners still sitting out there.
Sitting out there,
absolutely.
Too. We thought he would have gone much higher.
Absolutely. Look, and if you remember the NFC Championship game, the defensive backfield got absolutely slaughtered in that game by the Philadelphia Eagles. They picked them apart, and they actually went after every single person back there. So I think they could build up the depth there, too. We'll see here. I think offensive line, though, makes sense.
Randall McDaniel, 30 years ago, was a Viking draft choice.
And you were here breaking it down.
Hall of Famer. And then you got James Daniels, Iowa. You got Will Hernandez.
Yeah. In the 2018 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Mike Hughes, defensive back, University of Central Florida.
There you go.
Well, this is a very interesting pick on a lot of levels. One, it's something they needed, but Mike Hughes, of course, is one of those guys that has had some issues. Played 11 games as a freshman at North Carolina in 2015. After an altercation at a frat house in UNC, he and MJ Stewart, another draft prospect, were charged with misdemeanor assault, inflicting serious injury. Hughes was suspended 1 game. The charges were dismissed after he met court obligations. And according to an NFL.com report, Lewis, Hughes has told NFL teams that he left UNC in 2016 after being accused of a sexual assault that did not result in charges. He played 2016 in a community college and then went to UCF. On the field, he's as good as anybody in the draft.
There is no question about it. This guy has the total package. He can play press man, he can play off man, he's got tremendous ball skills, and he will rock your world as far as his physicality, man. He will come in there and he will absolutely hit. And on top of it, he's got dynamic return skills. Now, we're going to just show it right here, the kind of things he can do as far as down the field, being able to track the ball, win 50-50 contested ball catches, which is something you're going to have to do in Mike Zimmer's defense up there in Minnesota. And look, I'm just telling you this is one of the guys you're going to see his return ability right here on the screen. He is a multi-faceted player that slid down the board because of the off-field issues. If there's no off-field issues, this guy maybe is the second corner taken in the draft, and maybe as high as Denzel Ward.
Mike Zimmer knows what he's doing with defensive backs. We can say that much for sure. Mike Hughes is there. We are down to the final 2 picks of the first round. All smiles from Mike Hughes now. Stay with us. Welcome back to AT&T Stadium. We are coming to the close of the first round of the NFL Draft, which has been historic. 4 quarterbacks in the first 10 picks. That's never happened before. 2 first-round picks that are brothers at Virginia Tech, Terrell and Tremaine Evans. That has never happened before. And it is time for the second first-round pick for the AFC champion New England Patriots. Early in the first round, they went beef up front with Isaiah Wynn, the guard out of Georgia, who played almost every position on that offensive line and toughed it out this past season after tearing his labrum November 18th against Kentucky and played all the way through the national championship game. Where will Bill Belichick go with his second first-round pick? We are about to find out as the pick is in for the New England Patriots. Here's Roger Goodell.
With the 31st pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Sony Michel, running back, Georgia.
So Bill Belichick double dips to the Georgia Bulldogs. First gets Isaiah Wynn and then gets Sony Michel, the running back who combined with Nick Chubb over their careers for the most rushing yards by 2 FBS backs over their career. Kirk, he showed out in the college playoffs as well.
I was going to say, just turn on his film from the OU and the Bama game if you want to get excited about what he can do as an explosive back. You know, the trend right now in the NFL seems to be a kind of a copycat world. Right now, Alvin Kamara, what he did in New Orleans, if you can duplicate that with a back, I think the closest back you can find other than Saquon Barkley is Sony Michel. I think you can get him matched up one-on-one with linebackers. He can make plays in the running game, great lateral quickness, acceleration. I think it's undervalued and underappreciated how physical he can run with the upper body strength. End of the day, it's hard to drive the ball consistently in the NFL. You need chunk plays. This guy can provide chunk plays for this New England offense. Great pick again by the Patriots.
Averaged 7.9 a carry. MVP of the Rose Bowl. The thing I liked about him is how he got better. He doesn't have a lot of tread on his tires.
No.
Nick Chubb was the guy. DeAndre Swift, the freshman, contributed. He's still got a lot left. And his ball security issues have gotten better. Yeah, he's got to put the rest on those fumbling problems. He'll have a fumble now and then. He's still got to tighten that up. But he's gotten better. He can catch the ball. He can block. He's a complete back. And he hasn't been utilized so heavily because they've had Chubb and other backs like Swift to take some of that load away.
How about the reaction? They've had 3 players from that national championship game team, and Bama's had 4. That's 7 from that game alone.
Not a coincidence. 2 going to New England, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sony Michel, you're right. Look, the league is about people who are dual threats and guys who can do multiple things. And look, his teammate is still a good football player. I can't wait to see where Nick Chubb goes.
Yeah.
You guys know I'm on record. I love me some Nick Chubb.
Sure.
I can't wait to see where he goes.
Yeah.
This is just what we talked about.
Yep.
Quarterbacks go. And now we still got a lot of juice talking about these guys. These are some good football players.
There are still really good football players out there on the floor. But again, Sony Michel goes to the New England Patriots, joining his Georgia teammate Isaiah Wynn. Let's go upstairs to Adam and more for the final pick of the draft here. What do you got, guys?
Well, Trey, the fact that running backs are undervalued is now overstated because there have been 3 running backs taken in the draft tonight, including Sony Michel right there by the New England Patriots. Interesting because there were some teams that had some medical question marks on Sony Michel, worried about the condition of his knees going forward. There were some concerns about his longevity, but the Patriots felt like the value here was too good to pass up and went with the running back.
And that left knee, it was a torn ACL he had in high school, and it tested out a little loose at the combine. But the one thing the team said is, we're good with him. Maybe longevity could be an issue, but with a running back, you don't worry more than 5 years out. And they have him for 5 years if they want him.
And there's another team that have another player for 5 years. The Philadelphia Eagles just traded out of pick number 32. They will not pick in the first round. The Baltimore Ravens have just moved up to the 32nd spot. You know what that means, Ramey, right?
I think, yeah.
What do you think, Mort?
Well, no,
What do you think?
I think you know and you don't want to tell anybody.
No, I really actually don't know. We have ideas, we have thoughts, but the Baltimore Ravens have moved back up into the first round, Trey, and the New England and the Philadelphia Eagles, who didn't have second and third round picks, wanted more picks, so the Eagles get those more picks. We'll see who the Ravens take, Trey.
All right, Mort, Adam, thanks very much. By the way, that was the first skill position pick in the first round for the Patriots since Lawrence Maroney, the running back,
Minnesota.
Went since 2006 out of the Golden Gophers. This is interesting, though. Remember, Ozzie Newsome's first ever draft, he had 2 first-round picks, Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis.
How about James
That worked
Daniels
out pretty well.
They're pretty good.
Certainly possible.
Center.
However, he's now closing out his Ravens drafting career with 2 first-round picks. This just got interesting. You think James Daniels beef up
Kirk
front?
Ferentz, the connection there. Kirk Ferentz, an offensive lineman.
I hear you.
Center. This is a whole filler with James Daniels, good football player at Iowa. Ragnow's already gone. Price is gone. The centers are off the board.
Hold
now
on.
James Daniels.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The pick is in, and that's a wonderful thing. But you know what? Sometimes you trade in the first round for one of those skill position players we're talking about. Maybe, just maybe, that's what's happening now. Let's check in.
The Philadelphia Eagles have traded the 32nd pick to the Baltimore Ravens. With the 32nd pick, In the 2018 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Louisville.
All right.
Hey! Hey! How about that?
Oh, man.
5 quarterbacks go in the first round. Only the 3rd time in the draft that has happened. We had 6 in 83, 5 in 99, and Lamar Jackson makes 5 in 2018. And oh, by the way, Baltimore quarterback, Louisville, Johnny Unitas. Now it's Lamar Jackson. How about that? How about that, Kirky?
Wherever Lamar Jackson went, for me personally, because I'm a big fan of his and I think he can succeed at the next level, I was interested to see who he would go to play for and what quarterback was on the roster. I think this is a great situation with Joe Flacco to kind of take him under his wing and help him learn about the game. He can have a red shirt year or two, learn about the professional system and what it takes to really succeed. Don't underestimate Bobby Petrino, his play caller at Louisville, used to call plays in the NFL. He's learned a very sophisticated college playbook, which I think will help with his learning curve. Guy has a huge arm, can make every throw you want to see. He has once-in-a-generation quickness and escapability, and I know it's the NFL, and I know he's slight, and you got to be concerned about that. He's got to get down. But the creativity is what gets people excited about his game. But please, don't underestimate how he can throw the football. I've seen it firsthand. Dude can throw it.
I thought the pro day actually was more accurate than people I thought were giving him credit for. I mean, he airmailed a couple, but not what you would have thought. I think his accuracy has improved. The opportunities have worked. There's no question that the fact that in Baltimore with Joe Flacco, he's going to have 2 to 3 years to develop, and certainly it's a great spot. I think it's certainly into the first round. We thought he could go middle of the first round.
Yeah.
Look, this is the perfect pick. Think about this for a minute, folks. Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinators who? It's Marty Mornhinweg. Marty Mornhinweg was in Philadelphia when we signed Michael Vick. Marty Mornhinweg knows how to coach quarterbacks who are dual threat people. And let me tell you this, in a pro-style offense, what you're going to see right here, with pro-style personnel and pro-style route concepts, Lamar looked very good. In this game in particular here, 5-step drop, coming out backed up. He's trying to hit the post, reads that the safety's deep, sees the tight end spot up over the middle, reads the field, perfect. Here is another situation where you have, I believe this is 11 personnel. He's going to just hit a basic stick route here on the outside. Quick read, get it to his wide receiver, let them catch and run. And then here, they're going to run a 7-step drop, maximum protection type of route where he's had to push up in the pocket because he's getting a corner boundary blitz. He pushes up in the pocket, protects the football with 2 hands, and then launches a beautiful, beautiful teardrop post route and just drops it right into the wide receiver's hands. He has shown more than flashes of that, Herbie.
Yeah.
He's shown that he can do that. Absolutely. He needs a guy who will absolutely not let him off the hook as far as fundamentals are concerned. Marty will do that. He did it for Michael Vick along with Coach Reed. He'll do it for Lamar Jackson.
Keep talking about fit and right place. This is good for him. And I think one thing you got to remember about it, he played with an awful offensive line at Louisville over the last 2 years. Almost every time he dropped back, he's getting pressure. And that's why you saw him many times either stepping up in the pocket or having to get out of there. Right? That'll be a different thing in the NFL.
Let's just sum up what just happened. We started this draft with a Heisman-winning quarterback, Baker Mayfield. We ended this draft with a Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback, Lamar Jackson. And courtesy of DXL, Susie Culver standing by with the 2nd Heisman winner to go in the first round.
Well, it was a little bit of a wait. What were the emotions like as you waited in the green room?
I hope a team trusts me. Hurry up and get me, because it's on. It's on.
You and your mom, Felicia Jones, have made such an unbelievable team. You did this draft process your own way. When you were a little kid, she was your coach. What has she meant to you?
She meant the world to me. You know, a lot of people not fortunate enough to have their mom in their life, you know, but mine stood by me through thick and thin, whatever. And, you know, it's her moment, not really mine. I'm just happy to be a Raven right now.
When you met with the staff of the Ravens, what kind of indications did they give you of what they would like to do with you in the future?
You know, use me, you know, let me learn. You know, they have Robert Griffin there now. You know, they have Joe Flacco. And they're going to let me learn as much as I could. And they just want to see what I can do.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What a way to wrap up the first round. Let's go to Morton Adam.
Well, think about Lamar Jackson. He sat there and watched Baker Mayfield, the 2017 Heisman Trophy winner, go first, and he's the 2016 Heisman winner who goes last in the first round. But you think about the Baltimore Ravens with Marty Mornhinweg as offensive coordinator, Greg Roman as an offensive assistant. They've coached Michael Vick and Donovan McNabb and Colin Kaepernick. And one thing that Bill Parcells, the Hall of Fame coach, said, These coaches in this league need to look at a talent like Lamar Jackson and figure out how to use them to the best of his ability. And this is a guy that if you have patience with him, Parcells, Tony Dungy, other people I've spoken to at Louisville truly believe he can be a star in this league.
Mort, when you talk to people around the league, they say that when you take a quarterback in the first round, you take him with the idea that he's going to be a starter. And when you look at Joe Flacco in Baltimore right now, this will be the last year where he's got guaranteed money remaining on his contract. And with Lamar Jackson coming in now, and with Baltimore trading away a second-round draft pick in the 2019 draft to Philadelphia to move up to get Lamar Jackson at the back end of the first round, that tells you now that Joe Flacco is on the clock. Trey?
Mort, Adam, thanks very much. And technically, the Browns are again on the clock when we start the second round. But we promised you history, and we delivered. 5 quarterbacks, only the 3rd time ever we've had that many go. By the way, Teddy Bridgewater, the last Louisville quarterback to go in the first round, the last pick, much like Lamar Jackson, Louisville quarterback, the last pick in the first round. Overall thoughts, Mel, this first round, what?
I think it's a good player still on the board. I think that's the thing I think about right now. You think about a running back like Darius Geis, LSU, Nick Chubb, Georgia, Josh Jackson, all that production at cornerback for Iowa, Will Hernandez, the mauler, the guard at Utah. It's going to be a fun day, round 2 and round 3 coming up tomorrow night.
I thought it was interesting to see teams moving up to get quarterbacks. We saw a lot of movement, a lot of trades. It was, I don't know if that's normal for the first round.
It is.
But it was very active, and people quickly identified a quarterback that they wanted, and they went up and got him.
I love the picks here at the bottom of the first round. I love the Taven Bryan pick, the Mike Hughes pick. These are guys who are just going to be ballers, man. And we knew that this was going to happen, but it's just fun to see it unfold. Because I'm sure these teams were sitting there going, yes, just what we were hoping. That's right. Yeah.
4 quarterbacks go in the first 10. Never happened before. 2 brothers go in the first round. That never happened before. And we start and end with Heisman Trophy winners being selected. We told you it was a circus. Thanks for being along for the ride. SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt is next.